Marvel. The devastation of natural disasters begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. The Power of Sleep. Legend has it that Nuwa fixed the sky because of the sky, Ragnarok because of the war, the extinction of the dinosaurs because of the collision of the planet, the destruction of the world by floods in the west, and the control of the floods by Yu in the east because of the Great Flood. It is rumored that from ancient times to modern times, the appearance of the land and ocean have undergone great changes. Some have changed from ocean to land, some have sunk from land to ocean, and there are the legendary eruptions of extinct volcanoes. This is because the center of the earth has shifted, pole and land sank. It is said that in the history of the East, there were 5 random people who were chaotic, and civilization collapsed. In the history of the West, there was also a dark time before the Renaissance, when civilization was absent and ruled by barbaric laws, all because of the collapse of order. According to the third plague pandemic recorded in Eastern history, as well as the world-famous Black Death in the West, there are several other historical plague events that caused great casualties, all due to super plagues: falling sky, war, impact of planets, Great Flood, pole shift, sinking of the earth, collapse of order, super plague. 8 legendary natural disasters of the end of the world have occurred in history. As for the remaining 2 natural disasters, solar storms and temporal chaos, they may also have occurred, but they have not been recorded and no one has noticed. For example, solar storms may have occurred in a distant era, and it is precisely because an unprecedented solar storm swept the planet that life was born. Possibly, the occurrence of these natural disasters once wiped out human beings, but due to the chaos of time, it stopped the occurrence of the last days. After all, the timing of one of the top 10 natural disasters is chaotic, powerful, mysterious and unpredictable. These kinds of natural disasters tell human beings that they are very lucky to have survived until now without becoming extinct. He also told Tang Feng that he was very lucky to be able to live a second life. It was God who took care of him in the dark. Big brother, get up soon, I'm going to be late for class. Tang Feng felt a tremor in his dream, as if it reminded him of the tragedy of his tragic death in the earthquake. That kind of despair, unable to save himself, can only follow the tremor of the earthquake and bury him deep in the earth. This kind of thing he will never forget in his life. No. A 17 or 18-year-old young man, with slanted black bangs, a thin and ordinary boy with a pointed nose and mixed Chinese and Western blood, woke up from a nightmare in fear. "Ah, what are you doing, big brother? It hurts." The little blonde girl who was knocking on the bed, was knocked down by the young man and fell to the ground without any caution, screaming in pain on her face. Tang Feng trembled. His eyes were full of fear in those sapphire-colored pupils. He was looking around when he heard the familiar voice of his younger sister. He looked at her blankly and immediately knew what was going on. Hutilda, it turned out to be another nightmare. Tang Feng was relieved by this discovery and was no longer afraid. Then he sighed in his heart. The shadow of death in the previous life, even if he was reborn in the second world, still haunted and tormented him. "I'm sorry, Lisa. Big brother didn't mean it. You forgive big brother, right?" Tang Feng closed the door with an apologetic face and apologized to his sister for what happened when he got up. She is indeed a blood sister, but the English name is Lisa, the Chinese name is Tang Xin, and Tang Feng doesn't like English names. HMPH, I won't forgive you. How many times has this happened and my butt hurts? Lisa hummed softly and rubbed her buttocks with her small hands, which still hurt to this day. Big brother doesn't want to, but he always has nightmares involuntarily. That nightmare is too scary. Tang Feng was already experienced and pretended to be pitiful. Sure enough, seeing his pitiful appearance, Lisa softened again, hummed twice, and chose to forgive again. She also knew that elder brother always had nightmares and it was an old problem. "Big brother, you always have nightmares. Do you want to see a doctor?" Standing on the side of the road and waiting for the bus together, Lisa said with concern. "No, it's not that you don't know. Elder brother is not sick, and the doctor can't see him. Don't worry, it's just a nightmare, just get used to it. Tang Feng pretended not to care, touched Lisa's little head with one hand, and touched it randomly. Oops, big brother, you messed up my hair. Lisa pouted and pushed away Tang Feng's hand on her head in dissatisfaction. She was busy finishing her hairdo and put aside the previous topic. Tang Feng smiled, and sure enough, even if she was less than 12 years old, she was still Amy's age. Beep beep tilde. At this moment, the bus finally arrived. Big brother, the car is coming, let's get in. Lisa took Tang Feng's hand with one hand and spoke first. What's wrong, big brother? If you don't get up, the car will leave. It was strange to find that they couldn't pull Tang Feng. Lisa quickly turned around and said hurriedly, okay, hurry up. Tang Feng replied indifferently, looked away from the silver-white Chevrolet that had just passed by on the other side, and followed Lisa into the car. It's like this again. Vaguely, as if he saw that the Chevrolet would have a car accident. Tang Feng thought silently and put a hand on his chest, as if he felt a mysterious and powerful force sleeping within his body. With just one chance, this mysterious power can be used by him. Chapter 2: The Familiar World of Superheroes. Goodbye, elder brother. Well, goodbye, remember. Tang Feng leaned against the car window and made a secret gesture with his mouth. He didn't say anything. He knew that Lisa would know what was going on. Understood, elder brother. Lisa nodded, turned around, and walked into the school gate. She's about to graduate from elementary school. It's time to think about it and send her there. Tang Feng continued to watch Lisa's back disappear at the school gate, and then withdrew his gaze. The bus gradually moved away. The next stop was his school, an ordinary high school, and he, an ordinary high school student, is also about to graduate. Compared to his own graduation situation, Tang Feng is more concerned about Lisa's graduation and considers her future path. At 7:45 in the morning, a silver-white Chevrolet was passing through a traffic light when it crashed head-on. As the bus passed by a building, the big screen hanging above it was not broadcasting the rest of the advertisements, but a news item of a car accident. In just a few seconds, other things were playing on the big screen, such as what new military weapons Stark Industries had built, all thanks to one guy, or what new discoveries Osborn had made in the biological field. Among them, there was also a news item of a mutant attack in Brooklyn, New York. With a quick glance, Tang Feng saw the scene of the car accident on the news, which was the silver-white Chevrolet he had seen before. He had a thoughtful look on his face, and that's right, as long as I foresee the accident, I will never miss it. Is it my ability to predict? Other things can't be predicted. Can accidents only be predicted because of accidents? So, I'm also a mutant in awakening? Tang Feng rubbed his eyebrows with one hand and guessed in his heart. This world is the familiar and unfamiliar world of Marvel. Not only are there playboys having sex everywhere, the future Iron Man, but also the Osborn Company. It also indicates that there will be Spider-Man in the future, and Black Widow, Hawkeye, Captain M, Thor, Hulk, and so on. These superheroes will also exist. On the contrary, Hydra, Green Goblin, Dr. Lizard, Abomination, etc. will not lack villains. There are also the intrusion of Mutant, Magneto's Brotherhood, Professor X's Xavier Academy, Mutant Academy, the Hellfire Club hidden inside, and some scattered mutant organizations, plus various villains against the existence of mutant. If Tang Feng were to assess the world, it would be chaotic, dangerous, and potentially life-threatening at any time. Therefore, he who has experienced death will not resist becoming a mutant. In a mutant, he only cares about what the mutant's ability is, whether it is strong or not. Obviously, his ability so far has only been shown as prior knowledge, and there are still flaws. He cannot predict the life path of others, only unexpected accidents. For example, car accidents, plane crashes, and death due to various accidents. He can predict them, even if it is murderous by others. Accidental death can be predicted. In layman's terms, Tang Feng can predict the occurrence of disasters. Unless it is the end of life and a peaceful life, it is impossible to predict. This discovery was only gradually discovered after the accidental death of my parents in a car accident 3 years ago. His sister, Lisa, has also changed since that day. The ability to predict disasters is good, but, if given the choice, Tang Feng would rather choose the other variant abilities, such as psychokinesis, regeneration ability, iron body, speed, etc. These abilities are the powers that can protect themselves and their sisters. Although it is good to predict disasters, when facing danger, there is not enough strength to protect it. Hopefully, when the ability is truly awakened, there will be changes. Tang Feng sighed in his heart. He could only pray like this, got out of the car, packed his mind, and walked towards the school gate. The time to graduate from high school is approaching soon. We must hurry up and run and study. Hello, Tang Feng, good morning. As soon as he entered the classroom, a female classmate he liked greeted him. Janice, good morning. Tang Feng nodded casually, then sat back in his seat, took out the book, and immersed himself in reviewing. Doesn't it mean that after transmigration and rebirth, the brain will be different? They will never forget them. Even if they can't, at least they can remember them with knowledge and have a flexible mind. Unfortunately, Tang Feng's brain still belongs to ordinary people. He was full of resentment and devoted himself to studying. Sister Janice there, seeing that Tang Feng still didn't care about her appearance, could only withdraw her gaze in disappointment, and finally gave up her heart. Tang Feng sighed silently in his heart. It's not that he doesn't feel sorry for Xiangxu and doesn't understand taste, but this girl really doesn't suit him. Although the figure is good, the skin is rough and the cake-like face is really not in line with his aesthetics. There are definitely female students in the class who agree with Tang Feng's aesthetics, but they won't like Tang Feng. I can't compare my body shape, my motor nerves are not developed, and my brain can't compare with that of a scholar. Except for a Chinese-American face, it's really useless. Therefore, ordinary girls who like handsome guys will look at Tang Feng, and beautiful women who have a chase will never look at him. Jingle, the end of school rang, and the day's class finally came to an end. Tang Feng greeted a few familiar classmates one by one and hurriedly left. He had to pick up his sister quickly. Chapter 3 Lisa Mutant. The third year of high school is a stressful and depressing day. In this romantic and open country, high school students never go home to check their homework after school, but instead go to play, dance, date, and possibly battle in the field. Tang Feng definitely wanted to be like this. He definitely wanted to do it, but he couldn't act like this. He still had a younger sister who was waiting for him to pick her up and go home. Tang Feng, who didn't have a younger sister in his previous life, really loves Lisa, his own younger sister. In this life, he has loved her since childhood. Since his parents died, he has become a father and mother. Although he didn't have much free time because of taking care of his younger sister, Tang Feng enjoyed it. If he wanted to be at ease, he could live at his uncle's house and let his uncle's house help him take care of his sister, but he refused without even thinking about it. After proving to his uncle his ability to live alone and take care of his younger sister, Tang Feng brought his younger sister back to the original house 3 months after their parents passed away. What's wrong? The right eyelid has been twitching since just now. While waiting for the bus, Tang Feng touched his right eyelid that was in pain, feeling very uncomfortable. There is a saying that the left eye is good, the right eye is bad. Now that the right eye is twitching, that is a calamity. Although a little superstitious, Tang Feng couldn't help but believe it. Intuitively, he really had a bad feeling in his heart. Could it be that something has happened to your sister? For the first time, Tang Feng thought of Lisa. After all, she has secrets that others cannot know. Even though he has been warned and told, Lisa is only less than 12 years old and it is easy to reveal flaws for people to find out. Thinking of this possibility, Tang Feng couldn't hold back his anxiety. He would rather believe it than not. Even if he made a mistake, it would be a big trouble. Thinking about it, he made up his mind and immediately called a taxi. Driver, 20 Primary School, hurry up for me, I'm in a hurry. Tang Feng said quickly, and Shik took out the dollar and gave him 3 times the original fare. Okay, fasten your seatbelt. The elder brother is a black man, and I saw him showing his bright white teeth, then holding the gear with one hand, swinging the steering wheel with one hand, holding on with one foot, and refueling with one foot. I saw the taxi skidding on the spot and jumping violently. Even in the turbulent group of cars, it drove like a fish swimming in the sea, flexible and graceful, and disappeared without a trace. With a squeak, the tire rubbed a trace on the ground, and the destination was reached. "Thank you." Tang Feng suppressed the lingering emotions, got out of the car quickly, thought about it, turned around, gave a thumbs up and said, "Good technique, definitely an old driver." The black driver smiled and walked away. "This is an old driver with a story. Strange, why isn't the guard here?" Tang Feng quickly walked to the front of the school and unexpectedly found that the guard was not there. This was a very strange phenomenon, which made his heart race, and the bad feeling was magnified. Something must have caught the gatekeeper's attention, and the gatekeeper was not there. Thinking about it, Tang Feng rushed to the school gate and rushed to Lisa's classroom. "Oh my God, I didn't expect her to be mutant. Take her to the police station. It's terrible. I didn't expect my child to go to the same school as mutant. It's still a classroom. It's really dangerous. I want your school to give me an explanation. My God, such a cute little girl. I didn't expect those evil mutants. God. Please calm down, calm down. This mutant little girl, we have her under control and won't let her hurt you." A group of parents and their children are watching and pointing, a group of teachers are comforting, and the bald old man standing in front shouting is the principal. As for the control that the principal said, that mutant was shrinking in his arms. A middle-aged teacher was frightened. It was Lisa, who was afraid, scared and helpless. Big brother, where are you?" "Lisa is so scared." "Lisa didn't listen to you and shouldn't reveal the secret." "But, Fury was injured. Lisa just wanted to heal her. Shouldn't Lisa do this?" "Mr. Taz," Lisa cried, raised her face and asked the middle-aged teacher. "No, it's not like that. Little Lisa, you did a good job and didn't do anything wrong. They're not talking about you, they're just talking about those nasty mutants." Teacher Taz was distressed and comforted. She didn't expect Lisa to be a mutant, but she believed that Lisa was not bad by nature, nor did she do anything wrong. And she had no prejudice against mutants. It's just that the parents around her had different ideas. When they thought about their children staying in a school with mutants, in case of any accident, the more they thought about it, the more afraid they were, the angrier they became, and they blamed the school and even said a lot of hateful things to Lisa. Yes, Lisa was cute and did nothing wrong, but they pretended to ignore it. Only sensible people, even if they say justice, are drowned in the crowd. Tang Feng ran over and tried his best to push away the crowd in front of him, and what he saw was the scene in front of him. At this moment, his heart contracted, the pain was incomparable, and his eyes were red. Chapter 4, The Sister Who Will Be Taken Away. Lisa. A shout of anger suddenly silenced the noisy scene, causing everyone's expressions to become stunned, and they all focused on Tang Feng. Lisa did the same, only to see his pupils that were also like bright sapphires, as if she was seeing the savior. "Big brother." With a cry, Lisa broke free from Master Taz's embrace and rushed towards Tang Feng. "Don't be afraid, Big brother is here, no one can hurt you with me." Tang Feng crossed his arms and hugged Lisa's trembling little body tightly. He was angry and pitiful in his heart. He slowed down his tone and said softly and firmly, "Lisa believes in Big brother." "Big brother," Lisa didn't mean it, but Truth's hand was cut, so I helped her heal her. She promised me that she would keep it a secret for me. Lisa looked calm, leaning on Tang Feng's warm and reassuring embrace. She felt a sense of complete security, never doubting her elder brother's words. So, she simply explained to Tang Feng aggrievedly. "So that's the case, then Lisa didn't do anything wrong. I don't blame you." Tang Feng smiled lightly, and while comforting, he coldly glanced at the little brown-haired girl standing with her parents. This little girl Ruth, he knew, had a good relationship with Lisa and they were good friends. Sure enough, girlfriends are the most unreliable. Although Tang Feng had a lot of opinions on Ruth, thinking that it was because of her that Lisa's mutant identity would be exposed, but for the sake of his youth and ignorance, he decided not to pursue it any further. Then, holding Lisa's little hand, He stood up and faced everyone. "Although my sister is a mutant, she hasn't done anything wrong, nor has she harmed you or your children. She's still a child, and besides being a mutant, she needs your care, protection, and support." So, Tang Feng took a deep breath. He, who hadn't lost his mind, struggled to suppress the anger that would erupt, and said word by word, "Please let her go, my sister is just a child." After Tang Feng finished speaking, the scene was silent for a while, and several of the parents looked embarrassed and bowed their heads in silence. "Hey Tilda," with a sneer, he interrupted the silence first, only to see that it was a middle-aged patriarch holding a little fat man, dressed in a suit, handsome and radiant, a so-called social elite. "His name is Parker." "Mutants are monsters. As long as there are mutants, there will be destruction and tragedy. My father died because mutantess ability was out of control. You say she's a child. Yes, she's a child, but she's mutantess daughter, and she looks cute, but she's more of a threat than an adult with a gun. We all know that mutantess abilities are all kinds of strange and difficult to control, not to mention that she is just a child, and it is impossible to control her own abilities at all. Maybe she will get out of control at any time." "So, do you still think she is not a threat?" Parker said, looking at Lisa with hateful eyes, then looked at Tang Feng and said, "Since you're her elder brother, for her own good, I hope you will hand her over and let us send her to the mutant shelter." "No." As soon as he heard the mutant shelter, Tang Feng's face changed color, and he immediately refused, without room for negotiation. The mutant shelter was established by the military and is under the responsibility of the military. Although it looks like an orphanage on the surface, it is for the sake of social stability. It looks very beautiful, but Tang Feng knows the military urination, and Tang Feng also knows that there must be something tricky in it, and the deep darkness is essential. As long as he enters the mutant shelter, he cannot escape the fate of being studied. It's up to you to decide whether or not to do it. Since we all know that she's a mutant, even if you're her elder brother, we'll send her to the mutant shelter." I saw Parker walk up to Tang Feng with a smile. "What do you want?" "Get out of the way. Even if I want to send him, I choose to send Lisa to the Xavier Academy." Tang Feng's face turned pale. He shielded Lisa and shouted, "Humphrey, who knows where you want to send her? Maybe it's the Brotherhood that's doing evil everywhere. Let us help you stop you from doing this. The mutant asylum is not much different from the Xavier Academy. What are you afraid of?" As an elite member of society, Parker is still very prestigious among a group of parents. One after another, parents came forward to help him, and eventually made him steal Lisa from Tang Feng. With a deep smile on his face, he also knew a little about the rumors about the mutant shelter. Big brother, being forced out of Tang Feng's arms, Lisa was frightened and panicked, struggling desperately in Parker's arms, screaming and crying, "Lisa, let go of Lisa, let go of her." Tang Feng's eyes were red and his face was distorted. He struggled hard, but he still couldn't break free from the imprisonment of the two parents surrounding him. "Ha ha ha, don't worry, I will definitely call you when I send her to the mutant shelter." "Peace to you." Parker laughed heartily, leaving a hateful smile on his face, then turned around and forcefully pushed Lisa away. "Ah, damn it, let me go." With a slap came clearly. Lisa's crying temporarily stopped and turned into a soft cry. Tang Feng was struggling for a while and looked forward sluggishly. Vaguely, Lisa turned her head desperately to look back, and there was an eye-catching slap mark on her face. At that moment, I seemed to be in hell. Chapter 5: The Energy of Natural Disasters. Tang Feng's eyes turned black and white. No color, no sound, only deathly silence, and his sister who was being carried away. The Chinese name is Tang Xin, and the English name is Lisa. The name is okay, although it is worse than mine. From now on, I finally have a sister. As an older brother, I will definitely protect you. Lisa, my parents are gone. They left us and went to heaven. Don't cry. You still have an older brother. Don't be afraid. What's wrong with you, Lisa? Can't sleep at night? Are you having nightmares again? Ha ha ha. Then sleep with your older brother. We will have nightmares together. Lisa, it's time to eat. Lisa, go home. Lisa, let's go. You will be late for school. In the blink of an eye, Tang Feng recalled the past scenes with his sister, some happy, some sad, some boring. Over the years, the two of them have spent time together, relying on each other to survive in this world. For Tang Feng, this world is very familiar and unfamiliar, and only Lisa, the deceased parents, or just a few relatives in the uncle's house can bring him warmth. He couldn't imagine what it would be like if Lisa had an accident and was gone. No one can take Lisa away, no one can hurt her. Even if I am in hell, I will send Lisa to heaven and grow up happily. Seeing that Lisa was about to be taken away, seeing her being slapped in the face, it hurts to the core, and it hates her helplessness. At this moment, Tang Feng's anger, guilt, hatred, and other emotions were amplified to the extreme. Even if he were to experience another unforgettable painful death, he was willing to accept it, as long as he could protect Lisa. The firm thought in my heart finally made a string in my head seem to be broken. In the next instant, Tang Feng seemed to be in a mess, from small car accidents, plane crashes, man-made accidents, etc., to catastrophic disasters such as tsunamis, tornadoes, earthquakes, etc. Tang Feng is all over the world. As long as it happens, he feels it, and from these disasters, to gain strength. In addition, he also sensed the 10 kinds of doomsday natural disasters in the legend, and each kind of natural disaster power, such as Huang Wang, Danwei, made him look forward to it but not dare to approach it. In other words, the 10 great natural disasters are like imperial power. He has the qualifications to contact them, but he hasn't been able to control them yet. As for the disasters below the top 10 natural disasters, just like a courtier, he can command and use them. The moment he finally came into contact with the power in his body, Tang Feng instinctively realized how to use his power. In addition to the top 10 natural disasters, various disasters in the rest of the world, whether it is a car accident, an air crash, a man-made accident, as long as it is attributed to a disaster, it belongs to the power controlled by the top 10 natural disasters. Therefore, Tang Feng can control these disasters. Car accident. Tang Feng snorted coldly, stopped struggling, and let the two people around him hold him up, only using dead man's eyes to look towards Parker, who was about to get into the car. Parker had already put Lisa into the car, turned to Tang Feng with a wicked smile, and then got into the car. At this moment, a roar was heard, accompanied by the sound of refueling. A modified motorcycle flew over. Ah, the person in front is driving away, and my brakes have failed. Accompanied by the scream that incited him, it was the motorcycle that roared and knocked the terrified Parker into the air. With a few bangs, the motorcycle fell into the distance, and car parts splashed everywhere. The owner of the car fell to the ground, seriously injured, and fainted. Parker was immediately helpless. Not only did he fly out, rolling on the ground several times, but his head just landed on the ground, red and white, covering the ground. Ah, there is a car accident, call an ambulance. It's very unfortunate, no one hits him, but he hits him. He is dead, and the owner of the car here can still be rescued. The crowd of onlookers was arguing turbulently, and before they could recover, they hurriedly called the police and called an ambulance. Because of the car accident, the two people around him could no longer take care of holding Tang Feng. Tang Feng, who had been waiting for him for a long time, simply exerted his strength violently. He didn't even need to use the power that made him fear, so he broke free and rushed to Lisa's side. "Lisa, it's okay, get out." Tang Feng leaned beside the car door, a relieved smile on his face, and opened his hands. Big Brother originally curled up in the car. She was crying softly, just like Lisa, who was abandoned by the world. After hearing Tang Feng's voice, she raised her head sharply, her eyes flashed with a dazzling light, and the entire gray-white world regained its splendor, and she rushed forward, returned to his embrace. "It doesn't matter. Don't worry. It's okay. Big Brother promises you that no one will hurt you again." Tang Feng hugged Lisa lovingly and made a solemn promise. Well, Lisa believes in Big Brother. "Big Brother, let's go." Lisa always believed in Tang Feng's words, looked at the group of people there timidly and said, "Well, let's go." Tang Feng comforted her softly, then hugged Lisa and was about to walk away. Huh? Wait a minute, that girl can't leave yet. The two who were holding Tang Feng before noticed it, and one of them hurriedly shouted. With the shouts, people realized one after another and began to gather again. Obviously, even if there is an accidental car accident, he is still not ready to let Lisa go. By the way, if you don't tell me, I almost forgot. It's because of you that I almost lost Lisa. The main person is dead, so you can go too. Tang Feng paused and calmly turned around, first looking at the two who were holding him before, and then at the parents who followed the clamor. Lisa, close your eyes. Chapter 6. The Dark and Unknown Red Light. Although Lisa was puzzled, she obediently closed her eyes. Some people who approached Tang Feng didn't know what would happen next. If God does evil, you can still live, but if you do evil, you can't live. Originally, Tang Feng had already forgotten about them and just wanted to get Lisa out of here. Who knew they would have to commit suicide? Serial car accident. Although it will bring disaster to the innocent, Tang Feng doesn't care. Who told him to use his natural disaster power like this? Accompanied by his whispers to himself, he only heard the cars slowly driving around him. As if calling out, a car started to brake uncontrollably. Ah, why did the brakes go out of control? My God, I'm obviously stepping on the brakes. Why is he refueling? My God, the person in front of you is leaving. In a panic, a female driver desperately stepped on the accelerator, adjusted her direction, and rammed into the direction of 2 or 3 parents. Somewhere in the world, it was as if God had ordered her to do this. In fact, Tang Feng is God, and the behaviors of the surrounding cars or drivers are, to a certain extent, vaguely influenced by Tang Feng and follow his ideas. In a way, Tang Feng is like the movie Death God's Coming. He is the god of death in the movie. Tang Feng has just begun to affect the scope of the disaster, which is as large as the entire new city. Moreover, the scope of the disaster can be affected, and he also passively has the detection field. The scope of detection is black and white, like the perspective of God, which can penetrate obstacles. So if Tang Feng wants, he can turn New City into hell in just a few minutes. Boom, 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 screech, screech, screech. The crash of an out-of-control vehicle, the screeching of tires, the piercing sound of gasoline. And then, the terrified parents run desperately, dodge, and scream in fear. Don't come to me, don't come, don't. A male parent who held Tang Feng before, was lucky to escape the first vehicle collision, but he didn't expect that he clearly crashed into the school gate and there was a car chasing him. Still working hard, as if he had a life revenge or death against him. It was like a blatant murder. Bang! In the end, with a loud bang, the father was knocked down from a distance. Fortunately, although he died, the child he was desperately protecting just flew out and landed on the grass with only a few scratches. God, what the hell have I done? The front of the car collapsed and there were dead people. The car finally returned to normal and stopped. A black driver clutched his bleeding head and staggered out of the car, looking incredible. Not only him, but also the rest of the drivers in the car accident had the same look. Some held their heads and screamed, some covered their mouths and trembled, some widened their eyes, and some kicked the car fiercely, venting their anxiety and fearful anger. Dead, all dead. Suddenly killed more than a dozen parents, affected more than a dozen drivers, and injured some people and children. The scene was a mess, red, white, and everywhere on the ground, making people sick. At this point, the people who danced the most were all dead. Tang Feng suppressed his unbearable heart and turned to leave. The rest of the people did not offend him too much, so they did not chase after him. There is no such thing as so-called mercy, nor so-called innocence. Whoever wants to hurt Lisa is my enemy. For this kind of enemy, even if I can't bear it, I will be merciless. Even if I go to hell, I will protect Lisa and let her grow up happily in heaven. Thinking like this, the firmer and more powerful Tang Feng's steps were, the more determined his expression became. It's you. It was definitely done by you. The devil. There are not so many coincidences in the world. You must also be a mutant, with strange abilities. A loud shout stopped Tang Feng again. He sighed helplessly, turned around, and saw the security guard at the school gate standing not far away. pointing a gun at him. The security guard's name is Charlie, a white man, a retired military man with good analytical ability. He calmed down much faster than ordinary people, and soon noticed that something was wrong. Seeing the strange scene of the car accident and Tang Feng's calm expression, he brightened up little at this moment. Seeing Tang Feng leaving, his duty as a school guard prevented him from turning a blind eye. Although he was very scared, he was afraid that Tang Feng would also have a car accident with him, but he still took out his gun and stood up. When they heard the school guard's words, everyone at the scene of the accident looked at Tang Feng in surprise. Tang Feng always held Lisa calmly, ignoring everyone's suspicious gazes. "Big brother, what happened?" Lisa, who had been closing her eyes the whole time, hurriedly asked when she heard something happen again. "Okay, brother, we'll figure it out soon." Tang Feng let out a light voice, raised a hand and pressed Lisa's small head, preventing her from raising her head and opening her eyes. At this moment, a gunshot rang out. It turned out that the school guard was too nervous and scared. Seeing Tang Feng raise his hand, he thought it was going to be against him, so he fired when he was nervous. It turned out that he was wrong, but it was too late to regret. The bullet had already been fired. Tang Feng's pupils dilated and his hair stood up. Seeing the bullets coming, at this moment, he seemed to smell the breath of death. He couldn't help but think about it, and instinctively used the power drawn from the disaster to block forward with one hand. The dull red light seemed to represent the unknown, with a hint of purple, which also represented nobility. This was an energy barrier that blocked Tang Feng and blocked the bullet. Immediately afterwards, the bullets hanging on the barrier began to be occupied by the violent energy and gradually turned into dust. Tang Feng withdrew his hand in astonishment, only to see that the front half of his school uniform sleeve also turned into dust, revealing a small section of his arm. Chapter 7: The Army is in Action. Looking closely at the half of the sleeves that disappeared, Tang Feng's face became solemn. This was the first time he had used the power drawn from natural disasters to control the occurrence of disasters. Powerful, as he expected, it could not be controlled freely, also beyond his expectations. According to what he thought, it was to block the bullet, but the violent force not only turned the bullet into powder, but also destroyed a small part of the sleeve. Although it did not hurt her, if the power of natural disaster touched Lisa in his arms, wouldn't the result be turned into powder like the sleeves? Seriously terrified, Tang Feng has made up his mind, before he completely controls the power of natural disaster, even if he wants to use it, he must be careful not to affect Lisa. "Damn it, you are also a mutant, go to hell," the school guard shouted to bring Tang Feng back to his senses, and then saw that he shot hard and shot out the remaining bullets at once. Because the school guard was extremely frightened after seeing Tang Feng's means of blocking the bullets, and fearing retaliation from Tang Feng, he simply attacked first. "Go to hell," Tang Feng said coldly. If it weren't for the power of natural disasters, he would have been beaten to death, so he showed no mercy, punched forward with one hand, and could see a dull red light rushing towards the school guard. At the same time, the other hand held Lisa aside to avoid it, so as not to be affected. What? The school guard only had time to scream and was beaten into powder by the force of the natural disaster. Whether it was his body, clothes, or gun, it was the same. Here, Tang Feng easily blocked all the bullets with the power of the natural disaster. Hiss! The passers-by saw their scalps go numb and were terrified. "Everyone run! Mutant is on a killing spree." "God bless you." After being persuaded, the crowd dispersed, staring into Tang Feng's eyes as if they were looking at a demon. Indeed, that dull red light, attached to Tang Feng's side, was like a murderous demon from hell. "In order to avoid trouble, New City, we can't stay any longer, we have to leave here quickly and send Lisa to Mutant University." Tang Feng thought, "Stop hesitating, use Mutant's threatening power to grab a motorcycle from the bad scene and drive home first. Lisa, pack whatever you want, we're leaving here temporarily. Remember, carry as little as possible and be quick." As soon as she arrived home, Tang Feng reminded her while packing her suitcase, "I understand, big brother." Lisa obediently complied. Just as she was about to act, she paused, turned her head and said, "We've left. Will we come back?" "We'll definitely come back, this is our home." Tang Feng looked around longingly and nodded seriously. Lisa nodded happily and started packing while thinking about what luggage to bring. By the way, big brother, do you want to say something to my uncle? Lisa suddenly asked. Let's not talk about it for now. Our business is very troublesome. Telling them will only cause trouble for them. Also, contacting us will also affect them. So, we temporarily cut off our relationship with my uncle. Tang Feng thought for a moment, then looked at Lisa and explained. Although Lisa was a little disappointed, she decided to obey her elder brother. The scene was silent except for the movement of the two of them packing their luggage. I don't need any of these, just take these. Okay, let's go. Tang Feng quickly chose the luggage to take away. Only Lisa was still struggling to choose, and he helped Lisa choose it 3 or 2 times. Although Lisa was very reluctant, she didn't make a fuss. She is a smart girl, and she will be 12 years old. With the generally mature age of the United States, she also knows some truths and knows that she can't fight with her elder brother at this time. Let's go. Standing by the door, Tang Feng put a hand on Lisa's little head and pulled her out, who was reluctant to part, then closed the door and locked it. We will definitely be back. Tang Feng was waving his hand to call a taxi. Noticing Lisa's long-lost beau and comforting her firmly, Lisa nodded slightly, and felt a little better when she heard the elder brother's repeated assurances. I'm going to Westchester. I'm in a hurry. I hope I can triple the fare soon. The taxi was quickly called, the suitcase was put away, and as soon as Lisa got on the bus, Tang Feng took out a stack of dollars and said to the driver, Westchester and New City belong to the same state, so there's no need to fly. Okay. The driver, a white man with brown hair, turned his head with a faint smile and left immediately. Tang Feng was relieved when he saw that the speed of the car was faster than usual, and hugged Lisa with one hand, while thinking, I hope everything goes well on the road. It's just that the inexperienced Tang Feng didn't notice the sneer at the corner of the driver's mouth, like a hunter catching his prey. In fact, the military's response was faster than Tang Feng imagined. Colonel Stryker, the target is in the car. All right, this matter is left to you. Make sure to catch the 2 new mutants. According to the information, that little girl's ability can heal other people's injuries. This kind of healing ability is too rare to be overlooked. We must catch her before Professor X and the Brotherhood can react. At your command, Colonel. The phone was disconnected, and a military captain with a scar on his face, the person in charge of this operation, looked around seriously and said, according to the information, the little girl is not a threat, but her elder brothers. The ability is a threat. This is her ability information. I saw the captain take out a mobile phone and press play. There was a video of Tang Feng launching ability. Although it was not a high-definition version, it was still very clear. Then, the military soldiers began to move. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. Don't force me to make big moves. Jin. Scott. There is a situation in New City. There are new compatriots. Our compatriots may be in danger. Go meet them. Xavier College, the mutant college. Professor X habitually used his mind to investigate the past in New City, and immediately found the scene of the car accident created by Tang Feng. With a few more tricks, the surrounding audience will soon have a general understanding of what happened. Professor X looked solemn. He knew very well that with such a big car accident and the new mutant, there should be important news interludes. The problem is that such an important news has been suppressed and has not been reported for the time being. In other words, there must be official forces intervening in this, most likely the military. Guessing this possibility, he immediately called the proud student to meet him. Understood. We'll meet you right now. Where are you? Led by Cyclops Scott, followed by Phoenix Keen and Storm Moralo, they turned their heads towards Professor X. He should come to our academy, and you will fly in this direction. Professor X hesitated for a moment, and immediately sent out his thoughts. After finally finding the traces of the military soldiers, he stated, "Can't you find the traces of your new compatriots, Professor?" Seeing Professor X's hesitation, Kin widened her eyes and asked in confusion. As soon as these words came out, the other two also seemed to be in disbelief. "I couldn't detect it, but I could sense a violent and unknown force covering their whereabouts and interfering with my mind's exploration." Professor X has a worried expression on his face. Judging from his feelings, judging from the remaining strength, it is vaguely higher level and stronger than Kin's Phoenix Force. This judgment frightened him, because Kin was already a level 5 mutant in theory, the highest level, and he was only level 4. So, he can't imagine, what power is stronger than the 5th level, is the unprecedented 6th level mutant. Thinking of this possibility, Professor X decided that it would not be successful in any way for the army. Even if he did it himself, he would save his new compatriots. When he was considering the decision, the three of Scott also left with a look of surprise and took a sci-fi fighter plane into the future world. Something's wrong. Lisa, who threw herself into his arms, fell asleep because of the previous incident. And Tang Feng has been vigilant, even if there is no situation for the time being. He has not relaxed. Looking at the desolate surroundings, he finally realized that something was wrong. Is this the route to Westchester? Why not the main road? Tang Feng asked. Yes, it's the road to Westchester. I just took a shortcut. The white driver said without looking back. His tone did not fluctuate. Tang Feng frowned. There is indeed such a shortcut, but it is not easy to walk and it is a bit remote. So few people choose this path. Since Lisa Awakening has the variant ability, Tang Feng went to learn about Xavier Academy early and was familiar with the route. The white driver did not lie to him. The problem is, if there is an easy road to go, but the distance is long, the fare will be higher, and any fool knows how to pick. White drivers are simply not chosen. There are ghosts here. After thinking about it, Tang Feng was shocked, suppressed his emotions, and said, I have something to do temporarily. If you don't leave, park the car first. The white driver did not reply and continued to drive silently. The car was shaking and swaying a little along with the not-so-good road. Tang Feng's heart sank and he used the power of natural disasters. He saw a car driving on the road, suddenly lost control, and finally stopped at the side of the road when it almost overturned. The back door was suddenly pushed open, and Tang Feng got out with a gloomy face leading Lisa, who was in a daze. She just woke up and didn't know what happened. The white driver also disappeared. Not even the driver's seat, just a pile of dust. Lisa, no matter what happens next, don't be afraid, I'm here. Tang Feng identified the direction and then pulled Lisa forward, while comforting her in advance. Lisa is not afraid, Big Brother. My ability can also protect Big Brother. Lisa raised her face, looking very serious. Her other hand was raised, and a milky white light appeared on it. Tang Feng paused, looked at her, and laughed loudly. That's right, Lisa's ability is also very powerful. It will depend on your performance later. The back of Big Brother I leave to you. Okay, Big Brother, look good. Lisa's little face was firm and serious. Tang Feng took a deep breath, raised his head and looked into the distance. His eyes were cold and stern, and his expression was a little gloomy. No matter who it is, if he wants to be bad for him and Lisa, then they will all die. Because of his inexperience in using his own power, if he were to fight against the enemy, it would be difficult to take care of Lisa, and perhaps his natural disaster power would affect her. Therefore, before the enemy arrives, Tang Feng should try to solve it from a distance. The enemy is 10 kilometers away. Car accident. This is. When the disaster skill was activated, Tang Feng noticed that within 10 kilometers, those unknown enemies were surrounded from all directions. However, what made his heart sink was that all the unknown enemies were riding motorcycles and were prepared in advance. Even if the car overturned, it would be fine, but it would take a little time to arrive. The enemy already knows the information about my car accident and is prepared. Tang Feng narrowed his eyes sharply. Since that's the case, don't blame him. He looked back, which was in the direction of the New York City International Airport, and a plane just took off and flew over here. The 9th chapter comes from God's search for death. Soldier, report the situation. How far are we from the target? On the road, more than 30 soldiers were trotting forward, and in the distance, there was a motorcycle lying on the ground. The lead captain asked with a serious face. According to the detection of our space eye, the target is in front of our left, and the distance is still 5 kilometers. There was a soldier beside him, looking at the laptop in his hand and reporting. The Space Eye is an artificial satellite dedicated to the military. Obviously, Tang Feng and Lisa's positions have been locked by the Space Eye at any time. Okay, keep going at this pace. Remember, the target is very dangerous, and we have detected our ambush. The soldier disguised as the driver has died. Tell the soldiers to be careful. Pass on my words. The captain pondered for a while and said with a cold expression, "Yes, sir." The soldiers obeyed. Immediately afterwards, the soldiers approaching in the direction of Tang Feng received warnings from the captain at the same time. Apart from being careful of the red glowing energy, your methods of causing car accidents are useless, so this operation should be fine. The captain thought so in his heart, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but smile. 2 prey have fallen into his carefully woven net, waiting for him to catch them. At this moment, there was a roar in the distant direction, and then the sound became louder and louder, and an airplane appeared overhead. The captain heard the harsh sound. The captain turned around and saw that what he saw was an ordinary civil aviation airplane, and it was not an accidental force that intervened, so he was relieved. However, he had a doubt. He had considered all kinds of accidents before acting. If he was not mistaken, it seemed that there should be no flight routes passing through here. Thinking of this, the captain had a bad feeling in his heart. What happened next turned his bad feeling into reality, and in his gaze, he seemed to see a flash of fire on the airplane. Yes. Did you read it wrong? The captain involuntarily stopped running, widened his eyes in anxiety, and looked at the plane in the sky. Sir, what's wrong? The soldiers accompanying him also stopped, and a soldier beside him asked suspiciously. Yes, there is an attack. Take shelter. No, run. The captain saw that the flames on the plane were getting bigger and bigger, and it was beginning to show signs of falling. This scared him to the point of losing his way. He turned his head and screamed with a twisted face. Looking around, on the empty road, there is nowhere to escape, so he can only change his words and desperately run into the distance first. What target? He doesn't care anymore. This, the plane is about to fall. Run. After the captain's reminder, the soldiers noticed it, and in a panic, they hurriedly fled from the direction where the plane might crash. In fact, although they were nervous, they were not too afraid. After all, the place where the plane crashed was not necessarily exactly where they were. If so, they were simply out of luck. As for the reason why the captain was so horrified, it was just another reason. God, Colonel Stryker, your guess is correct. He must be able to create other disasters besides car accidents. He's going to let a plane fall on us right now. It's crazy. As the captain ran, he reported to Colonel Stryker over the military phone. As expected, I guessed right. I knew that the ability of every mutant is not that simple. To be cautious, I did not send gunships or fighter planes. I will now order that the planes in the new city area are prohibited from taking off and approaching. You have escaped this air raid and there will be no more. Colonel Stryker's gloomy voice came from the military phone. He was very familiar with the ability of mutants. Yes. The captain was relieved. A plane fell from the sky, and the shadow of death enveloped him. This kind of thing is enough once, and once again. I am really afraid that my heart will not be able to bear it. Next, you must be more careful. Although the target is only high school students, you can imagine how crazy it is to be able to do such a thing. You will see it as a mutant of the Brotherhood. Colonel Stryker warned solemnly. Yes, I understand. The captain nodded affirmatively, without hesitation. There were 200 or 300 people on the plane, and the target could be so cruel. One could imagine how crazy it was. So he raised 120,000 spirits and treated Tang Feng. Boom. An explosion came from above, and fire flashed in all directions. From all directions, The soldiers who gathered towards Tang Feng and fled from the route of the plane crash in panic, all looked up in shock. I saw that with the explosion, the plane was torn into pieces, and then the wreckage seemed to be able to automatically lock onto the target, and each piece of debris accurately aimed at the soldiers below, falling and crashing. Ah, help, God bless you, stop chasing me, run, run, idiot, what are you doing lying down? It felt like this, dodging, and lying down were useless, and there was no cover. The soldiers only ran desperately, trying to escape the chase of the god of death. Colonel Stryker, please bless me to survive this time. The captain slowly looked up, and there was a piece of debris flying straight towards him. He smiled miserably, took out a family photo, looked at it deeply, and then ran desperately. Everyone was fleeing. Only Tang Feng pulled Lisa to the side of the road and asked her to close her eyes and turn her back to him. But he looked up and admired the fireworks above. The fireworks are so beautiful. Tang Feng muttered to himself in a complicated tone, grabbing the hard ground with one hand, and without Lisa noticing, his body trembled slightly. Chapter 10 Accidentally Injured Allies. Even in the movie Death God's Coming, the pursuit of Death God Invisible is not guaranteed and it is possible to lose it. The plane built by Tang Feng crashed and it was impossible to kill all the soldiers. These soldiers scattered and all fled, not sitting still. Therefore, a small half of the soldiers were lucky to survive. Before the operation, there were 200 soldiers, but after the plane crash, only 50 or 60 were left. Before contacting Tang Feng, the military actions suffered heavy losses. Report Colonel Stryker, the captain unfortunately passed away. The soldier who had previously reported the situation to the captain happened to survive. With a sad face, he picked up the half-burned photo from the side of the wreckage and reported it in a heavy tone. Unfortunately, but even though the captain is dead and you have suffered heavy casualties, the operation is not over. Now you will lead the team and move forward. The soldier's face frowns. His heart panicked. Don't worry, I promise you, there will be absolutely no second plane crash. You just need to be careful of the strange energy attack from the target. Even if Colonel Stryker didn't see it, he guessed what the soldier was thinking and quickly comforted him, as ordered. With the assurance, the soldier took a deep breath, his face straightened, and obeyed the order. He put away the military phone, and through wireless communication, the surviving soldiers were remotely controlled and continued to move. Along the way, Tang Feng knew that the unknown enemy was not dead yet, and he didn't know if the plane attack had scared them away. He didn't wait in place, but continued to move forward with Lisa, ready to borrow a motorcycle and leave here as soon as possible. Also ready for battle. Tang Feng shook his head with a wry smile, looked at his right hand, but still couldn't control it. If he hadn't damaged the taxi when he killed the white driver, he wouldn't have to walk now. On this side, and this side, there are about 60 enemies left. Tang Feng counted in his heart as he pulled Lisa to walk. In his detection field, no one can escape his detection. If there is a vehicle, or some prop, when he creates a deadly disaster, he can also predict the death scene of the target. Those who crashed the plane, the death scene, and the death of those soldiers, Tang Feng can predict it. He can definitely also resist these predicted death scenarios and choose not to receive them. He didn't receive it, because he created so many death scenes, and that feeling of guilt made his heart feel very uncomfortable. Just out of sight is pure. I just want to be a good person, don't force me. Tang Feng muttered to himself. Big brother, what are you talking about? Lisa looked up and asked suspiciously. Nothing. Tang Feng shook his head and said. Suddenly, he tilted his head to look to the right. Another plane? It's still fast. He was too lazy to figure out what was going on. The disaster skill was activated, and the target was the remaining unknown enemy. Do I have a habit of killing? After doing this, Tang Feng smiled bitterly in his heart and muttered to himself silently. No way. He didn't want to kill people, but the enemy would not show mercy. So in order to protect Lisa and save her life, he really went all out. So really don't push it. Don't. Not good. The fighter plane failed. Oralo, who was driving the fighter plane, said strangely as he tried to figure out the reason. The fighter plane failed? How is it possible? Kin is hard to believe, and Scott is also very strange. This is an X-Men fighter with very advanced performance. It hasn't malfunctioned for so many years. No, the instrument shows that the engine is overheating, the fuel tank seems to be leaking, and the fighter plane is about to explode. After working for a while, Oralo barely controlled the flight direction of the fighter plane, and then noticed the flashing warning from the instrument and screamed in panic. What? Both Jean and Scott opened their eyes. Whistling tilde, the fighter plane flew across the sky, the stealth effect disappeared, and it gradually descended, quickly approaching the direction of the soldiers, and the tail of the wing burst into flames. Oops, look, another plane is coming. Well, that's a fighter plane. This style of fighter, is it the X-Men? Don't worry so much, run, the X-Men's fighter plane is about to go down. The leading soldier took a deep breath, his face pale and his body trembling. Didn't Colonel Stryker promise that there would be no more planes? The plane was gone, but the fighter plane came. It's over. He looked desperate. This time he might not be so lucky. Next, the fighter will explode, followed by another attack from the god of death. The soldier guessed that unexpectedly. The fighter plane was halfway there, but it still didn't explode. But the fire on the tail of the wing gradually disappeared. Unlike the plane, after all, there were 3 X-Men on the fighter plane. Jean used psychokinesis to protect the fuselage, and Oralo controlled the strong winds to cooperate, and the flames on the fighter plane were finally extinguished. Therefore, the tail of the fighter plane's wing just smoked and fell downwards. That's a fighter plane. It looks like an X-Men fighter? Tang Feng had a strange expression on his face, and it seemed that he shot down the X-Men's fighter plane with ease. The people above should be fine, they are X-Men after all. When he thought so, he saw 3 figures jumping out of the fighter plane, each carrying a parachute, landing on its side. Moreover, the fighter plane has already fallen to the ground with a rumble, and it is almost half disabled. Due to the interference of Kin and others, Tang Feng's disaster this time failed. Chapter 11 Lisa's healing ability. Wu. The disaster caused by Tang Feng is absolutely not dead man. If the target is strong, he can save himself. 7. The 3 X-Men who are now descending from the sky are exactly like this. Kin, Scott and Oralo, as they landed, had lingering fears, the expressions of the rest of their lives. Even if Zero is a 3rd-level mutant, but the fighter plane really explodes, and their lives will be in danger. Until now, the 3 of them have not figured out the situation, why the fighter plane exploded. Wu's question was too late for the 3 of them to think about it. In the sky, they could see 2 figures on the ground from a distance, and there were soldiers surrounded by soldiers in the distance. 3 didn't even think about it. The 3 of them knew that the 2 figures were their targets, so they controlled the direction of the parachute and landed on Tang Feng. Shoot and shoot, bazooka launch. The same is true for Zero's military soldiers. Under the orders of the leading soldiers, there is no too much hesitation. Vulcan guns, or powerful guns, or small gun barrels carried on their shoulders, all aimed at the 3 targets in the sky. Attacked. The army has always been secretly fighting against mutant, because they want to compete for mutant, or the army wants to capture mutant for experimentation. Both sides do not know how many times they fought. 9. Therefore, the leading soldier knew that X-Men would cause trouble again. In order to avoid the failure of the mission, he simply attacked first. Be careful. Throw out the parachute. Jin, please Oralo take cover. The 3 of Zero who were slowly descending in the sky were shocked when they noticed the attack from below. Scott immediately made a decision and shouted. He first took off the parachute from his body, and his body fell sharply downwards. Kin and Oralo did not hesitate and did so. At the same time, Kin's hair fluttered, her pupils flashed, and a level 3 psychokinesis erupted. She held the bodies of the 3 of them, and while accelerating the descent, she tried her best to dodge the attacks and avoid falling to her death. Oralo also used the skill. His eyes turned white, and a tornado quickly formed, surrounding the 3 of them to resist the attack. Scott did not sit idle either. He pressed a hand on his glasses and aimed at the military soldier below. He didn't want to hold his hand back, and 2 scorching heat rays rushed towards him. In the current dangerous situation, If he is kind and merciful, then he is a fool. Big brother, who are the three of them? They are also mutants. Lisa looked at the high-altitude offensive and defensive battle in surprise, and asked the random entry of the three strange people. They are the X-Men, the teachers of the Xavier Academy, the academy I am sending you to. Tang Feng narrowed his eyes, judging the strength of the X-Men. Finally, he came to the conclusion that the strength of the level 3 mutant is also a little Superman compared to ordinary people. In the attack of the military, he still landed safely, although he was a little embarrassed. However, he had a judgment in his heart that if he fought with the three of them, none of them would be his opponent, unless Phoenix burst out the strength of the 5th level mutant. So, if it's not the disaster ability, if I don't try my best to use the power of natural disasters, then it's just my disaster power. Is it level 4 or level 5? The so-called disaster power is the power of natural disasters. Tang Feng thought of this title temporarily. It's probably level 4 for the time being. Soon, Tang Feng had this estimate in his heart, and he was not at a loss, because since the power of awakening, he has been constantly drawing power from disasters. The power of disaster is now stronger than when he was just awakening. Moreover, it is more difficult to control. Big brother, the masters are here. Lisa's words brought Tang Feng back to his senses, because he knew that all three of Scott were teachers. At Xavier College, she was going to go to school there. Therefore, Lisa is very kind to the three of Scott, and she has already told the teacher casually. Tang Feng put his hand on Lisa's head with a smile, and he was relieved. He welcomed the arrival of X-Men, although he didn't know if he passed by, or if he knew the situation of him and Lisa. He came to greet him specially. In any case, with the protection of X-Men, Lisa's safety has been even more guaranteed, and she doesn't have to fight with her hands and feet. Thinking of this, Tang Feng looked around in the 4 directions with cold eyes, and unknown enemies also surrounded him. Looking at the clothes, he quickly judged that it was a soldier of the army. The army? You are courting death. Tang Feng gritted his teeth and his heart was boiling. Hello, you are the new compatriots, right? Don't worry, we are X-Men, teachers of the Xavier Academy. The Xavier Academy is our mutant academy. You must have heard of it, right? We have made a special trip to pick you up this time. As soon as the 3 Scots arrived at Tang Feng, they quickly explained their intentions. I know, then my sister will ask you to help me protect her first. Tang Feng nodded lightly and pushed Lisa towards the 3 of them confidently. Lisa, this white-haired sister is injured, please help her heal. He noticed blood oozing from Oralo's calf, which must have unfortunately been injured in the previous military attack. Ah, it's really bleeding. This teacher, Lisa, will help you heal it. Lisa yelled, quickly squatted down, put both hands on the wound, and milky white light flashed, covering the wound. No need. This small wound. Oralo didn't care about the small wound and was about to refuse, when he was surprised to feel a coolness coming from the wound, and then the wound was healing quickly. Chapter 12 Contact War. It was the first time I witnessed Lisa's healing ability, and Scott, Jean, and Oralo were all shocked and even more shocked. There is no doubt that even Mutant's ability is all kinds of strange, and the mutant who can have the ability to heal is too rare. It is almost impossible. Therefore, Lisa's healing ability can be said to be Mutant's baby. At the same time, the 3 of them made a decision in their hearts. They must protect Lisa. Tang Feng saw the 3 people in front of them thinking and surprised, and nodded slightly. He knew that Lisa's healing ability was very important, and he probably guessed the 3 people's thoughts. Likewise, he also knew why the military came so quickly, just because he wanted to catch Lisa. Maybe the person behind this military operation is the hateful Colonel William Stryker. Tang Feng, who is familiar with the plot of X-Men, definitely knows the big villain, Colonel Stryker. No matter who is behind the scenes, Tang Feng will never let him go. The military soldiers are coming. We are going to retreat. Scott frowned when he saw the military soldiers approaching one after another, and quickly reminded him, yes, let's go quickly. Even if we are here, in the usual manner of the military, we may not plan to surrender. We have to be careful of their attacks. Qin nodded, already vigilant. and the skill was activated at any time. Your skill is very powerful. The wound is completely healed. Thank you very much. Uro thanked Lisa and pulled her behind him to protect her. Lisa looked at Tang Feng. Tang Feng nodded lightly, signaling her to stay with Oralo at ease. Protect Lisa first so that she doesn't leave. After Tang Feng finished speaking to the three of Scott, he turned around and walked towards the military soldiers. Wait, where are you going? Qin asked in surprise. Where? It's definitely fighting. No matter who it is, it's that side. Whoever dares to harm Lisa, I won't let go. Tang Feng's cold words came without the slightest pause in his steps. Hearing Tang Feng's words, the three Scots widened their eyes. They didn't expect Tang Feng to be so bold. Facing the military raid, not only did they not want to escape, but they also wanted to fight back. Don't be impulsive. Go back quickly. Even if your awakening skill is very powerful, it is only awakening. It is not the time to fight against the army. Scott subconsciously thought that the compatriots who had just awakened the skill swelled up and hurriedly shouted, "No, you are wrong. Even if we don't resist and want to evacuate, the military will not agree." Tang Feng turned his head and affirmed, "So when the battle begins, you will be responsible for protecting Lisa, and I will deal with the enemy. Don't be silly. We are X-Men. The enemy will definitely be resolved by us, and you are not even allowed to interfere with this little brat." Oralo rolled his eyes, looked at Tang Feng's still tender face, and said rudely. Tang Feng suffocated. What a kid, this damn age. If it weren't for the wrong place, he must bring out the big guy to show Oralo whether he is small or big. Stay alert, here they come. At this moment, Scott remembered to shout. It turned out that at this moment, the military soldiers were already surrounded for dozens of meters, and they were raising their guns to aim at them. The leading soldier pulled a few soldiers out of the line. Listen to the X-Men ahead. We are catching 2 mutant assassins. I hope you don't interfere. Otherwise, we will treat you equally and arrest you together. The leading soldier's harsh words came. Impossible. This is our new compatriot, and he will not be taken away from you. Our teacher said that we are going to bring our new compatriots back to the academy, so it is best for your military to let them go. Scott firmly refused. The leading soldier's face was gloomy. Although the 3 X-Men were hard to bite, he could try to confront them, but the name of the professor was too great and his deterrent power was too strong, so he did not dare to make a decision. Attack. Even if you kill the target, you must bring back their corpse, or blood samples. And the child who can cause car accidents, plane crashes, and has strange abilities, cannot be missed. A gloomy voice came from the wireless communication, and the secret Colonel Stryker had taken command. With such a heavy loss and casualties, it is impossible to say that he will stop. He would not mind killing 1 or 2 X-Men here if possible. As for Professor X's problem, he is confident that he can be appeased. Attack. The leading soldier's expression froze. Without any hesitation, he immediately issued an attack order. As soon as his words were released, the soldiers who had been prepared for a long time raised their weapons and poured out their firepower. Although there were only about 50 left, and under Scott's Cyclops, more than a dozen soldiers were killed and injured, but the soldiers with advanced weapons were confident to compete against the 3 X-Men. In addition, everyone has heard that the X-Men are good-natured people and are used to being kind-hearted. In this way, they have an inexplicable sense of security. Even if he is shot down, if he is lucky, he should be maimed and not die. Be careful. Storm. Lightning. Oralo's eyes turned white and her hands were wide open. A storm formed above her, and she immediately protected the 4 of them. With the appearance of dark clouds above, several lightning bolts struck the soldiers. Mind control. Hurry up and stop. Jin also used the ability to control several attacking soldiers, let them drop their weapons, stun each other, and then continue to control the rest of the soldiers. Scott also releases Cyclops at the same time, and in his precise attacks, he only hits the soldiers hard, with few fatalities. Hey, the kind-hearted X-Men. In the end, I still want to give them a fatal blow. Tang Feng's body burst with calamity, and the dark red light protected him, making him look more like a demon coming out of hell. Chapter 13, The earthquake of last resort, the calamity around him blocked all attacks, and only the sound of fluttering could be heard, whether it was bullets or small grenades. Everything turned into a cloud of dust. Oops, this. The three X-Men were busy resisting the attack. They only thought that Tang Feng was not around and there might be danger. They quickly looked over and saw an astonishing scene. Hey, what a powerful and strange power. Scott took a deep breath. This kind of power. Kin couldn't help but froze for a moment, feeling a force in her body that was about to move, as if she felt threatened. He didn't say much. He really has the strength to fight against the army. Orala looked surprised and muttered to himself. Lisa stood behind her and looked at Tang Feng's back with wide eyes. It was the first time she saw Tang Feng's power. Man-made disaster. Tang Feng didn't stand still to carry him forcefully and ran towards a group of soldiers, while muttering to himself. Man-made disasters can cause personal accidents, such as falling while walking or choking on drinking water. Every accident has big and small. Big ones can kill, small ones can only embarrass the target. The conditions for launching a man-made disaster depend on the tools at the scene. Look at the military soldiers who have guns in their hands, which is the best tool for committing crimes. Bang 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 bang. Click, click, click. Ah, I got hit by a stray bullet. Oops, the barrel is jammed. Be careful, the gun exploded. With the release of the disaster skill, one by one unexpectedly appeared, and the soldiers who were strafing and attacking began to become chaotic. Affected by this, the firepower was immediately reduced by half, and the three of Scott also felt that the pressure was greatly reduced, and they were able to resist the attack more calmly. What happened? The three of them were at a loss. As professional military soldiers, would such a mistake be made? Be funny. At this moment, Tang Feng had already rushed to the front of a group of soldiers. He didn't have any fancy way to attack, nor would he. He simply waved his hand, and the dark red energy was brushed forward. After brushing and collecting, the 5 soldiers turned into dust, and all the corpses remained. This kind of death, helpless despair without resistance, made the rest of the soldiers change color, pale and fearful. Demon, go to hell. A soldier screamed in fear, carried a rocket launcher and pressed a switch. Boom. The rocket exploded on the spot, tearing the soldier to pieces. I have seen your death. Tang Feng looked coldly, stopped paying attention, and continued to charge towards the rest of the soldiers. Rush in front of the soldiers, brush the power of disaster, and then retreat. On the bumpy road that was bombarded by fire, a cloud of dust was extremely visible. These dusts scattered with the wind and disappeared completely. The proof of a person's existence simply disappeared completely. The violent calamity was roiling and boiling. Without Lisa by his side, Tang Feng no longer had any worries and acted as he pleased. Except for paying attention to the damage to his clothes, he focused on killing the enemy. 1, 2, 3. Before you know it, almost all the military soldiers on the scene were killed, except for the number of deaths of the 3 Scott. Most of them were killed by Tang Feng. In fact, seeing Tang Feng's killing method, in the end, the 3 Scott gasped and couldn't help but stop killing people. And the military is also afraid of Tang Feng's decisive death, and they all ignore the X-Men in tacit agreement, but only concentrate on fighting Tang Feng. Even so, it can't be resisted. While fighting Tang Feng, he also had to pay attention to the unexpected situations around him. The military soldiers simply couldn't care. Finally, the chaotic and harsh fire ceased, and almost all the military soldiers fell, leaving only the leading soldier and the only 2 or 3 remaining soldiers. Sir, the mission failed. The leading soldier muttered bitterly to himself, looking desperate. Fall. On the opposite side of the wireless communication, the connection was disconnected. Hearing that the mission failed, Colonel Stryker gave up for the time being. He held the battle video sent by the leading soldier in his hand, and his eyes flickered. He was now very interested in Tang Feng's mutant ability. Next time, I must catch you and put you on the test bench. Cold and cruel words echoed far away in the underground secret base. It's over. In a short battle, Tang Feng's clothes were half destroyed by the disaster. With his arms and thighs bare, ignoring the pleading gaze of the leading soldier, without the slightest mercy, The disaster turned him into dust. "You are too cruel," he begged for mercy. "Why did you kill him?" When the battle ended, the three of Scott came over. Qin saw Tang Feng acting like this, he couldn't bear it, and frowned. "I will never show mercy to my enemies. I want my life. I want to hurt Lisa. I won't forgive them just because I beg for mercy and repent. For me, only a dead enemy is the best solution." Tang Feng didn't have the slightest tact and said directly these kind of words. The three Scots who heard it all frowned, and the way of killing the enemy is different from the philosophy of the X-Men. Originally, seeing Tang Feng with such a strong power, he was thinking of inviting him to join the X-Men, but now he was a little hesitant. Tang Feng walked towards Lisa regardless of what the X-Men thought. Suddenly, a commotion occurred, and Lisa disappeared in front of him without warning. Lisa. Tang Feng was stunned and subconsciously shouted, "Not good." "People are gone." The X-Men immediately turned around and found that Lisa had disappeared. Qin raised his head, his long red hair fluttering, and his mind was completely open, trying to find the reason why Lisa disappeared. "No, there is a powerful force around me that interferes with my detection." Qin Yi shouted anxiously, with speculation in his heart, and looked at Tang Feng. "Whoever it is, he is dead." Tang Feng roared hoarsely, no longer daring to hesitate, no longer caring about the consequences, half kneeled on the ground and put his hands on the road. Earthquake. Chapter 14 Mercury. Since ancient times, earthquakes have changed people's mentality. No matter what earthquake it is, it will bring casualties and losses. If the intensity of the earthquake is higher than the 5th magnitude, it will bring devastating disasters. The Tangshan earthquake in history was only magnitude 7, less than magnitude 8, but it has already caused a tragic disaster, which will be deeply remembered by future generations. Another example, in recent years, the Wencun earthquake occurred, which shocked the world. The Wencun earthquake was only magnitude 8, but it was already devastating. The death toll was close to 100,000, and more than 100 counties, cities, were affected. The severely affected area was 100,000 square kilometers. From this brief introduction, one can imagine how terrible the earthquake disaster is. Therefore, Tang Feng, who knew the earthquake was terrifying, really did not want to use it subconsciously. This place is not far from New City. If the intensity of the earthquake is larger, he cannot control the intensity accurately. He can use an earthquake intensity of magnitude 6 or above if he is not careful. Then, the disaster that brought him, he did not dare to imagine. However, Lisa disappeared under his nose, disappeared. Nothing is more important than Lisa's safety. Tang Feng no longer has any worries to launch the earthquake disaster. With the launch of the earthquake disaster, his original detection field became clearer and sharper. It is as if what was originally a standard definition video has now become a high definition video, and perhaps even an ultra high definition video. The strengthening of the detection field made Tang Feng finally notice Lisa's trace. A white figure was moving away from Lisa, and it was 100 meters away in the blink of an eye. Speeder, Quicksilver. Tang Feng immediately guessed who it was. His face was ugly, and the blue veins on his forehead were exposed. Even if it was a movie character he didn't hate, he couldn't capture his Lisa. Earthquake. Boom. The ground trembled violently, causing the unprepared X-Men to stand unsteadily and almost fall. This is not the end. The source of the earthquake is getting stronger and stronger. The gravel on the ground is bouncing and rolling, and the birds and beasts in this area are screaming and fleeing desperately. Quicksilver, who was quickly escaping, was also affected. He stumbled and almost fell. He couldn't help but stop and looked around in a daze. All he could see was that the earth was shaking, and strong tremors were coming from the ground. The concrete on the road was cracking, the grass beside it was cracking, and the weird trees were shaking and falling at any time. Quicksilver had an inexplicable feeling, as if he was surrounded by a sudden earthquake. How can that be? He denied it in his heart and felt uneasy, swallowing his saliva, suppressing his panic, thinking about it, and leaving here quickly, otherwise he would not be able to deal with that red devil. That's right. He watched Tang Feng's battle throughout the whole process, and was also afraid of Tang Feng's power. Originally, Magneto Eric got the information and knew that X-Men were dispatched, but he just called Quicksilver to come and see what was going on. After Quicksilver saw Lisa's healing ability, he was tempted. Because of the disability, the number of mutants that the Brotherhood died every year, I don't know how many. Those disabled mutants with broken hands and feet, missing an organ, and more. If there is Lisa, the severely injured mutant will heal in time. Perhaps Lisa's healing ability has become stronger and can even reach the level of regeneration. Thinking like this, Quicksilver made a decision to capture Lisa and let her join the Brotherhood and become a baby of the Brotherhood. With the decision, Quicksilver waited for the battle to end, originally thinking that if the X-Men and Tang Feng were in trouble and threatened, he would help. Who knew Tang Feng was so strong that he didn't need his help at all? As a result, Quicksilver quickly ran over, knocked Lisa out, and took him away. Then the earthquake came. Get away. Quicksilver ran over again with Lisa in his arms. You want to go? Stop for me. Tang Feng clearly knew Quicksilver's actions through the exploration of the realm. He muttered to himself. The calamity in his body was rampant, and he launched a calamity crazily. The wind blew inexplicably, and black clouds began to gather in the sky, and the tremors kept increasing. Click, click. The road around Tang Feng was cracking, and the violent shaking made it difficult for the three X-Men to stand firm. Damn, the earthquake intensified. Quicksilver, who was running fast, suddenly shook and couldn't help but break out of the extreme speed state. Unable to balance his body, fell to the ground, cleared some distance, and then stopped. Fortunately, he subconsciously protected Lisa. Tang Feng sees that Lisa is okay, and feels relieved. Hesitantly and slowly activates the skill. If you continue to activate the skill, even if Quicksilver can't escape, it will also affect Lisa. Tang Feng frowned, clutching the ground with both hands, caught in a difficult choice. Continue? Stop. You can't continue using the ability. If you continue like this, you will cause great destruction in the new city. When Keen shouted, trying to stop Tang Feng's impulsive behavior, he deeply felt that the source of the violent power, that is, the cause of the earthquake, came from Tang Feng. Yes, calm down first, I promise. I will do my best to help you find her back. It's Lisa, right? Scott was shocked by what Jean said, but chose to believe it and followed the persuasion. Stop first. Professor X will definitely find a way. He can help you find Lisa. Oralo followed suit. Seeing the terrifying scene of the earthquake, the three X-Men panicked. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Land Subsidence. Subsidence. Compared to Tang Feng's terrifying ability, the three X-Men actually felt that his ability was really a small fight. Well, moving is an earthquake. Whoever suffers. The three of them looked at Tang Feng expectantly, waiting for him to nod in agreement and stop activating the ability. The earthquake is still going on. Tang Feng is silent and tangled. He was not thinking about the victims, but about Lisa's safety. Although he consciously controlled the scope of the earthquake, it still affected the distant New City. In the remote suburbs of New City, the source of the earthquake began to be heard. Some dilapidated water pipes burst, and the dilapidated buildings were cracked and filled with debris. The sudden earthquake caused people to panic, and the vehicles that were moving smoothly also crashed out of control. At the same time, the Seismological Bureau received the news and was shocked to find the reason. The panic in New City did not affect Tang Feng's decision. Although I know Lisa's ability and identity as a mutant, even if I come to the Brotherhood, there is no danger and it is estimated that I will be regarded as a baby. However, Tang Feng also knows what the Brotherhood is. There is a group of racists who have extreme ideas and advocate extremes. They are all crazy mutants. Under the leadership of Magneto Eric, it is a group of anti-human lunatics. Not to mention that Magneto is a dangerous character. For the future of mutants, he will do anything, even if it is a rule of not harming his fellow citizens. It is not absolute. If you think Lisa's healing ability is rare and want to research it, and you want more mutants with healing ability, Why do you want to research Lisa? What if the lunatic of the Brotherhood knocked Lisa down and instilled some crazy ideas? What if there is a perverted mutant who wants to hurt Lisa? Just like parents going out with their children, Tang Feng is also worried and in a bad mood. No matter how he thinks about it, he feels that Lisa is staying in the Brotherhood, which is too inconvenient. As a result, the option of letting Quicksilver take Lisa away was rejected, leaving Quicksilver alone. Tang Feng thought anxiously and noticed that Quicksilver began to run slowly while the earthquake was not too violent, and his heart was even more anxious. Strengthen the earthquake. No, it will hurt Lisa. What about the rest of the disaster? Air crash, car accident, man-made accident, tsunami, typhoon? Tang Feng thought of many disaster methods, but it didn't work. Some disasters are not easy to use. Even if you use them reluctantly, you can't control them and will only hurt Lisa. There is no way? Tang Feng was unwilling and pursed his lips tightly. Even though he had such strong power, it had nothing to do with the speeder. It was really embarrassing. If only I could catch him. Wait, caught. Muttering in his heart, he moved in his heart and suddenly thought of a way. Tang Feng set his sights on the top 10 natural disasters. Although he can't use the top 10 natural disasters for the time being, it is still possible to borrow a little power. Tang Feng took a deep breath, suppressed his anticipation, and quickly recalled the skill of the 10 great calamities. Skyfall? Not suitable. Solar storm? Also not applicable. War? No, it might lead to nuclear war. Pole shift? Almost petty, not suitable. Great flood? Without that time, Lisa could easily drown. Order collapsed? Not suitable anymore. Super plague? It can infect Lisa. Time chaos? It's too mysterious and unpredictable. I don't dare to try it easily, even if it's to borrow a little power. Planetary impact? Summon a meteorite. Don't make trouble. Lisa will die first. After denying them one by one, in the end, the earth sank. Tang Feng's eyes were fixed. He had no choice but to do that. As he made his decision, Qin felt a strong feeling in his heart. He said uneasily, What do you want to do? With a thud, the other two also felt something was wrong and became nervous. I didn't want to do anything. I just came to a dungeon-like prison. Tang Feng's tone was both anticipation and uneasiness. He wondered if it was what he thought and if the result would be as he wished. The Earth's core is sinking. The sinking of the Earth. Without hesitation, Tang Feng's entire mind sank into the sinking power of the Earth's core. At that moment, he seemed to feel the powerful force of the sinking of the Earth's core. It was the power to destroy the sky and destroy the Earth. It could change the world, sink the Earth into the sea, and lift the Earth from the sea. It can change the appearance of the planet, and it can also destroy the planet. Lost for a while, thinking of Lisa's safety, Tang Feng quickly woke up, and then carefully borrowed some power to unleash the disaster. Boom! Loud rumblings rang out, and the ground sank. The feeling that the ground was collapsing made the X-Men's faces pale and their hearts trembled. Tang Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. Through the exploration of the realm, he witnessed the process of the disaster and its destruction. This, my God, my God, my God. It's not true. Quicksilver was going crazy, and the ground trembled, causing him to stop. But after a while, the ground suddenly sank 100 meters in front of him, 20 or 30 meters wide and unfathomable. As for the length, Quicksilver was in a cold sweat, noticing that the sinkhole area seemed to be a circle, and he seemed to be inside it. Oops, Quicksilver said anxiously, hugging Lisa tightly and about to run, but the constant violent vibrations affected him, making him unable to run fast. Finally, the shaking stopped and the loud noise disappeared. Quicksilver was finally able to run as much as he wanted, only to find in despair that he had nowhere to go. There were subsidences of the ground within a radius of 1,000 meters, like a rogue circle, surrounding him. Quicksilver stood to the side and looked into the depths of the sunken ground. The sight of the dark situation made him gulp in fear and he did not have the courage to run down. Desperately, at his current speed, it is impossible to jump down. Chapter 16 Battle Ideas. Through the exploration of the realm, Tang Feng knew that the sinking had successfully trapped Quicksilver in the center, and Tang Feng finally felt relieved and was about to stand up. Empty, so empty. She now feels that her body is being completely emptied, and she can't use her strength. and she can't raise her strength. Are you okay? Qin asked worriedly. Tang Feng's pale face now is really worrying, and although the earthquake has stopped, she knows that something must have happened, which makes her even more worried. She was afraid that Tang Feng's madness would cause a lot of casualties, and it would be difficult to do so after the incident. What the hell did you do just now? Scott was equally worried and asked in a deep voice. This kind of power is terrifying. Oralo still didn't come back to her senses, and there was still shock on her face. She is Storm and has the ability to control celestial phenomena, but compared to the earthquake caused by Tang Feng, it is really insignificant and not worth mentioning at all. You want to know? Just follow me. Tang Feng gritted his teeth, shook his body, barely stood up, and walked towards Quicksilver. The three behind them looked at each other and followed with a worried look. The power of the 10 great natural disasters. Tang Feng pondered as he walked, and after using this time, he truly discovered that with the current skill, he was not qualified to use the 10 great calamities. Even if he reluctantly borrowed a bit of power, his mind was still too exhausted and he was almost exhausted. Even so, at a critical moment, when you want to use it, you can still borrow the power of a natural disaster. Tang Feng's fist was weakly clenched. He didn't say anything, he just got used to it when he used it. The body is weak and it is nothing that can be squeezed out. Therefore, he summed up the current skill. The disaster is used in close combat. This is a common method of combat. In order to block the enemy, harass them, and attack them in a large area, you can use the disaster. It may be as small as a car accident, a man-made accident, as large as a tsunami or a typhoon. In the end, it is a desperate means, and it is the ultimate big move, that is, borrowing the power of natural disasters. The level of power of natural disasters is really not comparable to disasters. Even if the earthquake is terrifying, it cannot be compared to the direct sinking of the earth. After walking for more than 10 minutes, during this process, the calamity circulated in the body, gradually restoring Tang Feng's physical strength, and his mind also improved, causing his pace to continue to accelerate. Finally, we arrived at the range where the sinking occurred. Tang Feng stood on the edge of the sinking, looked around from a distance, and saw with his own eyes the appearance of the sinking in a circle. He also noticed the black dot that was in the center of the circle, in a dilemma and no way to run. Is this a joke? The three of them followed Tang Feng here, and they were all in disbelief when they saw the terrifying scene in front of them. For Tang Feng's power, he has a deep understanding of it. Oralo swallowed and carefully looked at the dark depths of the sunken ground. He only felt that it was a dark abyss, as if it was going straight to the heart of the earth, which made his heart palpitate. Storm, please fly over me. Tang Feng bowed his head and said to Oralo, give it to me. Oralo looked at him deeply, took a deep breath, reluctantly responded, and nodded. He also doesn't care if Tang Feng can call out his nickname. The Xavier Academy is the Academy of Mutants, and everyone knows it. As a righteous X-Men, he often goes out to deal with the affairs of the mutants, which is still a well-known thing. Gale, under Oralo's control, led the four of them to fly over the sinkhole and arrived at the opposite side. As soon as he landed, there was a flash of silver light, which could not be seen by ordinary people's eyes, but Tang Feng only noticed it with the detection domain. Hearing the three muffled noises, he did not panic, but a violent calamity surrounded him. Facing the dark red disaster, Quicksilver thought of the fate of those military soldiers. He was shocked and immediately stopped, turned his feet, and avoided it in a thrilling manner. He stopped in the distance, showed a figure, hugged Lisa, and was in cold sweat, terrified. Quicksilver, hand Lisa over to me. Tang Feng grabbed with one hand, and there was a dark red catastrophe in it, like the flames of hell. Hey, believe me, I really didn't want to hurt this little girl, I just wanted to invite her into the Brotherhood. However, it seems that God does not allow me to do this. Suddenly there is an earthquake and there's a sinkhole, and I am directly trapped here. This is really unfortunate. Am I right? Quicksilver looked at the disaster force in fear, smiled dryly, and pretended to speak easily. Yes, it's a coincidence. So, do you want a meteorite? I can satisfy you. See if you run fast or the meteorite falls fast. Tang Feng gritted his teeth and said menacingly, "My God, no, you did all this." Quicksilver is not stupid, he reacted quickly and said with a dull expression, "Quicksilver, it was you. What did you do with Lisa? Did Magneto tell you to do it? Damn Quicksilver, how dare you attack us?" The three Scott finally stood up unwillingly. Quicksilver attacked them as soon as they landed. Tang Feng didn't remind him, so he couldn't react at all. "No, no, you're wrong, it's just a greeting, not an attack." Quicksilver took out a sharp knife and said defiantly, "You can try it." Kin's face was very ugly, her long red hair dancing without wind, and she was ready to activate her thoughts and control Quicksilver at any time. Enough. Tang Feng looked impatient and interrupted the daily communication between the X-Men and the Brotherhood. He glared at Quicksilver fiercely and threatened, "Now, immediately, hand over Lisa to me, otherwise, I will sink you directly into the center of the earth." In order to prove that she did not lie, she stomped her feet heavily on the ground, and the ground trembled several times. Stryker's conspiracy. Well, Tang Feng is still lying. With his current situation, he can't borrow the power of natural disasters at all. He's just bragging. But Quicksilver doesn't know this. Don't be like that, brother. Don't be impulsive." Quicksilver shook his hands in fright and said quickly, "Don't get along with me. You and I are not brothers. If you dare to take Lisa away, we are enemies." Tang Feng said coldly, I said that I have no intention of harming her. So don't be so hostile to me. We are all compatriots and should get along." Quicksilver drew a smile at the corner of his mouth and said, "Don't talk nonsense, not a word, whether you pay or not." Tang Feng narrowed his eyes, a murderous aura erupted from his pupils, and he said word by word. Quicksilver's smile hardened, he hugged Lisa tightly and fell silent. "Quicksilver, if you don't want to die, you'd better hand her over," Scott persuaded from the side. "You'd better not kill yourself." The piano opened his mouth to agree. "Yes, it's not as talkative as us." Orala looked at Tang Feng and warned, "It's okay to give her to you, but you have to promise me to let me go." Quicksilver listened to the X-Men's advice and knew that there was nowhere to escape, but he couldn't do anything about the calamity protecting Tang Feng. "I promise." Tang Feng didn't think about it, nodded and agreed, but his eyes flickered and he played a word game. "I want you to promise not only to let me go, but also not to hurt me. You also have to ensure my safety so that I can't come back." Quicksilver's vigilance is still very strong, and he made a solemn declaration with Tang Feng again, and also took out 3 X-Men. "Maybe." Tang Feng stared at Quicksilver, and finally nodded slowly unwillingly. If Quicksilver wasn't so cunning and wanted to break his leg afterwards, he would just let him go anyway. "We're fine." Seeing that Tang Feng agreed, the 3 Scots nodded. "Okay, then give her back to me." Quicksilver understood the promise, breathed a sigh of relief, and reluctantly put Lisa down on the ground and stepped back. Tang Feng suppressed his excitement, walked over, and took Lisa back into his arms. The kind of feeling of loss and finding, and the heart regaining peace of mind, was indescribable. "Lisa." Tang Feng touched Lisa's sleeping face, knowing that she had just fainted, and was relieved. "Quicksilver, I'll let you go this time. If I meet you next time, I will definitely entertain you." Tang Feng especially emphasized the word reception. "We can go." Then, he looked at the X-Men. The 3 of Scott agreed, and without further delay, Orala used the storm to fly over the sinkhole and leave here. Quicksilver saw that Tang Feng and the others finally left, and his nervous heart finally relaxed, and then his face turned bitter, and he was very uncomfortable with Tang Feng's words. He was thinking about trying not to meet Tang Feng in the future. He knew one thing, Tang Feng really held a grudge. Obviously he didn't hurt that little girl, she's his sister. Be very careful. Quicksilver smiled wryly to himself and was about to leave. How to leave? Quicksilver stood at the edge of the sinkhole, dumbfounded. Professor X, what are you thinking about? Make a decision now. Xavier College, Professor X's office, bald-headed, sitting in a wheelchair. Charles faced Colonel Stryker in the communication video. His face was silent. After a while, it is impossible for me to hand over my compatriots, especially your army. Charles' tone was firm, and he said in a deep voice, "This is a reckless decision. Your mutant academy is not a place to shelter vicious criminals. What he committed has been spread all over the world, and it has also caused public outrage in society. So, you still insist on principles and protect him? Aren't you afraid that so many years of hard work, mutant's ideal of peaceful coexistence with human beings, is all in vain?" Colonel Stryker's words, transmitted from the communication video, put a lot of pressure on Charles. In particular, in the communication video, there are also various news, including a tragic car accident at the gate of the elementary school. In the professional video production method, Tang Feng's calm face is very eye-catching, making people know at a glance that he did it. There were also terrifying scenes of aircraft explosions. Under the surveillance of satellites, Tang Feng looked up and showed a gloomy expression. There is also a thrilling scene where Tang Feng uses catastrophic power to kill people, calling the person who sees it and the devil. There are also news reports that are more or less similar, as well as interview news about other people's perceptions. All the news stations made Tang Feng swipe the screen. Everyone who has seen the news is very angry and denounced Tang Feng. There is no doubt that this was Colonel Stryker's plan. Under his control, everything Tang Feng did was exposed. The new mutant who can control the disaster has spread all over the world. With these evidences, Tang Feng has been on the military's wanted list. As a mutant of the Brotherhood, he has the same experience and will live in hiding. It is for this reason that Charles is not easy to accept Tang Feng. If Tang Feng is forcibly accepted, it will only lead to greater conflict between mutant and humans. Everything he did was forced by you. Charles watched Tang Feng's single-handed killing. Although he couldn't bear to see so many innocent lives die, he still stood up for him. No one forced him to do that. I found out that his sister is a mutant and I have to take her to the mutant shelter. I didn't do anything wrong. He caused a catastrophic car accident. Our military sent someone to arrest him. That's right, he shouldn't have involved the 305 lives on the plane. Our military will not turn a blind eye to a mutant like him who disregards human life. The president is also supportive in this regard. Colonel Stryker's cold words came out in a triumphant gesture. Chapter 18. I finally see Charles. I hope you can make an informed decision. Colonel Stryker left this sentence and disconnected the communication video. Charles sighed and stood in the office quietly, looking at the sunlight shining in from the window, which was very dazzling. Tang Feng, what kind of mutant are you? Charles thought so, and seeing Tang Feng's way of doing things, he was not much different from his old friend Magneto, who disregarded human life. Because of this, he was very worried, because he was afraid that Tang Feng would not be the new leader of mutant, as he wished, to lead mutant to unearth and coexist with humanity. Hello, my name is Hank McCoy. Nice to meet you, new compatriots. I heard that you crashed my fighter plane. Can you tell me, how did you do it? God, really, you can create disasters. This ability is beyond my imagination. Since the fighter plane crashed and was half destroyed, there was no means of transportation to get back to Xavier Academy, so the X-Men called the Academy and asked someone to pick him up. It turned out that Mutant Beast drove another fighter to pick him up. As soon as he saw Tang Feng, he was very surprised and kept asking questions. The beast in front of him has a ferocious beast-like appearance with upside-down burrs and a green complexion, which looks very scary. Lisa woke up, scared of Beast, and hid behind Tang Feng all the time. Now Tang Feng has changed into a spare X-Men battle uniform, who told her that his clothes were half ruined in the previous battle. Not to mention, the battle uniform is very comfortable and good-looking to wear. Tang Feng looked at Beast curiously for the role in the movie, which actually appeared in reality. He knew that although Beast's appearance was ugly, his intelligence was very high and his scientific research level was also very good. He was not a simple character. Phoenix, Storm, Cyclops, Quicksilver, Beast, and the upcoming Mutant Academy, and Professor X to meet. Tang Feng thought. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he was looking forward to this big wave in the Marvel world, and finally stepped into it. I don't know what his future will be, whether to hang all the enemies or become a background board. Do you want to know? I can show you. When he got on the fighter plane, Tang Feng raised an index finger, and the calamity appeared on it, and he said with an evil smile, "I don't want to." Scott, Kin, and Oralo yelled at the same time and stopped with sweat on their faces. "Oh, boy, although I would love to see your ability, now is not a good place to experiment. Also, can you restrain your power? It gives me a very dangerous feeling. If I don't pay attention, I'm very afraid that you will harm this fighter again." Beast turned his head with a dignified expression. From his intuition, the calamity gave him a very terrifying and ominous feeling. "You have to believe me, the previous fighter plane crashed. I really didn't mean that." Tang Feng took back the power from the disaster with a look of embarrassment. Fortunately, the three of Scott are not ordinary mutants, otherwise they will kill friendly troops by mistake. "Okay, I think you didn't do it on purpose. Your power is too dangerous. I hope you don't use it casually." Beast breathed a sigh of relief, turned his head to continue controlling the fighter, and reminded, "I know that under normal circumstances, it is not necessary and I will not abuse my power." Tang Feng shrugged and said casually. The scene was quiet. Everyone knew what Tang Feng meant and would not abuse it, but would not hesitate to use it, just like in the previous battle. Beast looked worried and didn't know whether the decision to bring Tang Feng to Xavier Academy was good or bad. Before leaving, he also knew the news about Tang Feng, and even knew that the military was forcing him to take people, making it difficult for Charles to do so. The speed of the fighter plane was very fast, and it didn't take long for it to return to the Xavier Academy and land vertically in the open space. "Welcome, this is the Xavier Academy." As soon as the fighter plane took off, Kin said with a proud face. The open space behind them suddenly separated from both sides, bringing the fighter plane to the underground platform. Beautiful, spacious, and comfortable place. This is Tang Feng's first impression of the Xavier Academy. Very good. He is very satisfied. The place is good, there are people of the same kind, and there is the protection of Professor X. Tang Feng is really relieved to send Lisa to school here. It is definitely temporary. He hasn't forgotten that even the Xavier Academy may be in danger. "Wow, how big, how beautiful." "Brother, is this where I will go to school in the future?" Lisa, who was following beside Tang Feng, exclaimed in amazement, looking forward to it. Very happy. "Yes, you can go to school here in the future, no one will harm you. There are also many compatriots here, and you can definitely meet many friends." A voice sounded in Lisa's mind. She looked forward in surprise, and there was a bald old man in a wheelchair approaching. "Professor." Scott and others stepped forward to say hello. Tang Feng frowned. He couldn't hear anything. He only noticed a thought approaching. Although it was not malicious, it was still destroyed by the calamity. "I just talked to you with my mind. I'm sorry, I'm used to it. I offended you." Charles was also shocked by Tang Feng's domineering power and explained with an apologetic face. "At the same time, when I saw Tang Feng, I also judged that it was Tang Feng's power that interfered with his mind detection." "Good." Tang Feng was thoughtful and shook his head. After hearing Charles' words, he felt relieved. Even the form of mental conversation, the catastrophe, can be destroyed immediately, proving that the catastrophe can withstand the invasion and attack of the spirit. That way, she wouldn't have to worry about Charles reading her mind and the secrets of her rebirth wouldn't be revealed. "Lisa, this is Charles, the headmaster of the academy and one of the most powerful mutants," Tang Feng said to Lisa. "Is he very powerful? Is there an older brother who is very powerful?" Lisa blinked and asked curiously, witnessing Tang Feng's battle with her own eyes. To Lisa, the older brother is the most powerful. Tang Feng smiled without saying a word. Charles smiled gently and didn't care what Lisa said. He could feel Lisa's kind and innocent heart and was very satisfied with it. Chapter 19. The Name of the Red Devil. It's not that Tang Feng is bragging. The power of the disaster is currently at the 4th level, and he has the ability to launch disasters, which can attack in a large area, and the desperate means of borrowing natural disasters. With all these things, really, his strength is not that of an ordinary 4th-level mutant, and even against a 5th-level mutant, he still has a winning rate. Natural disasters are his strength. Although Charles' thoughts were strong, He was completely overwhelmed in the face of disasters. Originally, he had no other self-protection ability and was just an old man in a wheelchair. Therefore, Tang Feng can actually kill Charles at any time. The mutant's ability is like this. Although it is very powerful and strange, on the other hand, it also has fatal flaws. Fortunately, Tang Feng's strength has no fatal weakness. Concentrating his thoughts, he continued to listen to Charles introduce the origins of the Xavier Academy, while observing the surroundings of the academy. Wow, it looks so good. Along the way, Lisa was surprised again and again. The smile on her little face couldn't stop, like a happy butterfly, bouncing on the grass in front, stopping and squatting from time to time. Something caught her eye. Tang Feng looked at Lisa with a look of relief. As long as she was happy. Lisa goes to school here, okay? After Charles finished his introduction, Tang Feng said formally. Charles in front, with Qin's help, turned the wheelchair and smiled. Definitely yes, our academy welcomes all compatriots. Tang Feng nodded as expected, without surprise. Lisa's ability is very comprehensive. I call it Holy Light. Not only can it heal injuries, such as some colds, but it also uses holy light to heal the patient. It seems to be able to purify all harmful substances, and it can also use holy light to protect itself and resist attacks. You can also attack. However, the power of the holy light has a focus. Healing is the strongest, protection is second, and attack is the weakest. Lisa, come and demonstrate your ability. After Tang Feng explained it, he gestured to Lisa. Lisa obediently ran over and began to demonstrate. The first is healing. The milky white light shines on everyone. There is a warm feeling. The body seems to be healthier, and the spirit is shocked. Tang Feng felt the deepest feeling. He borrowed the power of natural disasters before, and his body became weaker. Even if there was a disaster, it was not so fast. Now give the holy light a chance and he will recover more quickly. Tang Feng secretly estimated that if he gave Sheng Wang a few more cures, he should be able to fully recover tomorrow. After the demonstration of the healing ability was completed, it was followed by guardianship. I saw that Lisa's little face was very serious, and two small hands were placed in front of her. After 10 seconds, a light barrier was formed, which was close to the size of a basin file. Finally, it's the attack. This time, Lisa held back for nearly a minute. Her face flushed red, and then condensed a ball of light the size of a ping-pong ball, which was thrown out and landed on the lawn. It only destroyed the grass, and even the ground under the lawn was not exposed. As Tang Feng said, Sheng Wang's attack power is really weak. Even so, Charles and the others were already very satisfied and were amazed by the comprehensive and healing effect of the holy light. Lisa's holy light, it will surely make her a great mutant in the future. Charles came to this conclusion. It's hard to say what will happen in the future. For now, I just want her to grow up happily and safely. Tang Feng was non-committal. He definitely knew the role of the nurse. Even if he was injured and dying from serious injuries, as long as he took a sip of milk, he would be resurrected on the spot. In fact, it was very important and was easily respected by others. However, there are two sides to the coin. The enemy will try to capture Lisa and hurt her. Therefore, Tang Feng did not ask for anything, only asked Lisa to have a stable place to study at Xavier College. For this, Charles is also solemnly committed. Seeing the conversation between Tang Feng and Charles, Scott and the others felt a little strange. It seems that Charles has been talking about Lisa and has not said clearly what to keep with Tang Feng. Professor, thinking of this, Qin was about to speak in doubt. At this moment, everyone walked towards the teaching building and some students walked up to them, and the students greeted Charles, Scott and others one after another. Then, I saw Tang Feng. Ah, God, look who I see, it's the Red Devil. Really a Red Devil? He's cruel. How did he do it with so many innocent lives? Great, so great. Red Devil Tang Feng, you are my idol. Huh? Did you see that? He was also wearing a battle uniform. Did he join the X-Men too? No, he's a Red Devil. Does the teacher agree to join him? The students kept talking, and they all looked at Tang Feng. Some were afraid and accusing, while others were fanatic and admired. Some didn't support Tang Feng, but they didn't reject him. Tang Feng raised his eyebrows. Hearing the students' words, He had some guesses in his heart and couldn't help but look at Charles. "Come with me." Charles sighed and led Tang Feng into the office. Scott and the others followed behind in confusion. Only Beast knew what was going on. "You're not allowed to say that about my elder brother." As he walked, Lisa said sadly to some of the students who accused Tang Feng, "Lisa, it's okay." Tang Feng put a hand on Lisa's small head with an indifferent expression. Her actual age is not that of a high school student, and she has mature ideas a long time ago, and her mentality is not that fragile. That's how it is. In the office, news about Tang Feng was playing on the video. Charles sighed. Tang Feng shrugged helplessly. He didn't expect his bad deeds to be made public so quickly. Chapter 20 Tang Feng's decision. These things, big brothers are forced. They are all bad guys. Big brother just wants to protect Lisa. Lisa also knew Tang Feng's current situation unknowingly. She blushed and was very angry, explaining it to Tang Feng. For her, no matter what Tang Feng does, it's okay, and speaking ill of Tang Feng is a bad person. Her worldview, her thoughts, are as simple as that. Okay, needless to say, Big Brother won't take this seriously. Tang Feng's heart warmed when he heard it. He didn't hurt this little sister in vain. He squatted down and touched her little head with a smile on his face. Lisa nodded obediently, standing next to Tang Feng, and looked at Charles and the others with wide eyes. If someone speaks ill of Tang Feng, she decides who the bad person is. Although you are protecting yourself, there is really no need to involve innocent people. Charles was helpless and coaxed Tang Feng. Lisa's face was swollen, and she no longer felt that the old man was kind and easy to talk to. Charles could sense Lisa's obvious thought and couldn't help but smile bitterly. That kind of thing is meaningless anymore. I don't want to justify anything, but in that situation, I have no other choice, Tang Feng said calmly. Professor, is it difficult? Knowing that Tang Feng's wrongdoings were exposed, Qin guessed the professor's difficulty and asked. Although he couldn't stand Tang Feng's disregard for human life, he never thought of giving up on Tang Feng, a compatriot with great power. It's a bit difficult to handle. The military is already eyeing the academy and can come in and arrest people at any time. Charles frowned and did not answer. The beast beside him said, that is to say, if I continue to stay in the academy, it will cause a conflict between the academy and the military, right? Tang Feng considered this, had already made a decision in his heart, and said slowly, that's right. Charles sighed and continued, but don't worry, even if there is a conflict with the military, I will not hand you over. Tang Feng smiled. He believed in Charles' words, but he would not back down under the shelter of the academy. Thank you for your kindness, but there is no need. I don't want to bring war to the peaceful academy for my reasons. So, I will leave the academy and will not embarrass you. Tang Feng's tone was firm and his eyes were shining. How can this be possible? You should know that the military may have already surrounded the academy. When you go out, you will face the arrest of the military. Oralo shouted and stopped. Yes, we can't let you go out and die. Scott followed the serious path. Whoever said that, will die. Tang Feng walked out with a chuckle, looked at the crowd, and said proudly, with my current strength, even if I face Magneto Eric, I am not afraid. It is just a mere raid by the military. What about? This full confidence is his truth. Unless the military uses unconventional weapons such as intercontinental missiles or nuclear bombs, they really can't help him. As the three Scots who have seen Tang Feng's power with their own eyes, they also sighed and did not deny it. Charles was silent and his eyes were deep. No matter how he thought about it, it would be a good choice for Tang Feng to leave the academy for now. Although he also has a deterrent power, he can't do that. His position is on the side of justice and he can't be arrogant. Big brother, are you leaving? Then Lisa is leaving too. Lisa listened. She already had a guess, and quickly said, Lisa is obedient. You can stay in the academy with confidence, and Big Brother will leave temporarily. Tang Feng crouched down and comforted her. No, I'm leaving with Big Brother. Lisa shook her head sharply, tears streaming down her face, pleading, be obedient, Lisa. At this time, Elder Brother is not confident in protecting you. On the contrary, Elder Brother can protect himself well. So if you insist on going with Elder Brother, Not only elder brother will not be able to protect you, but elder brother will also be in danger. Do you want to have anything to do with elder brother? Tang Feng coaxed softly. I definitely don't want to. Lisa kept shaking her head. Now that you understand, you know how to decide, don't you? I know that my sister is a smart and beautiful little angel. Tang Feng kissed Lisa's small forehead and smiled. Well, I see. Lisa sobbed softly and nodded lightly. She didn't want her elder brother to be hurt, so she could only agree to part ways. Okay, then let's see what the dormitory you will live in will be like. Tang Feng nodded in relief, stood up, took Lisa's little hand, looked at Charles and said, tell the military that I will leave tomorrow. If you are sure, then welcome to arrest me. However, please also ask the military to carefully consider whether to make my fate worse. Tang Feng looked out the window, the sun setting in the west, bringing a red glow, like the color of his disaster. You might as well tell the military that my ability is a disaster. I can cause a disaster. Today's earthquake is caused by me. If you don't want a big earthquake in New York, then be honest with me. Tang Feng squinted his eyes and looked straight at the setting sun. His face was cold, his hand was empty, and the dark red catastrophe was boiling, like a burning hell. Chapter 21. Knocking on the door in the middle of the night. After dusk, the silent night came, and the cool breeze blew slowly, bringing some rustling noises, which were the movement of leaves. The spacious and beautiful Xavier Academy is no longer noisy during the day. All the students have returned to the dormitory, playing or sleeping. Under the strict discipline of the academy, no naughty students dare to sneak out of the academy without permission. During the day, the academy had already notified the students that they could not leave the hospital without permission tonight, otherwise, they would be severely punished. This is because there are military ambulances hidden outside the academy. Although the main target is Tang Feng, he doesn't mind catching more mutants. Charles was well aware of the morality of the military, and only issued this stern notice. Professor X, who has always been kind and respected, didn't expect that the mutant under his command would also learn to threaten. What do you mean when you let someone bypass him before? You want to threaten our military? Still in the office, Charles was left alone, with a communication screen in front of him, showing Colonel Stryker's appearance. You misunderstood. Tang Feng is just our new compatriot, not someone who belongs to my Xavier Academy. Also, my academy is called Xavier Academy, not just the Mutant Academy, but also ordinary humans. I want to remind you that Tang Feng's power is not weaker than mine, and his ability is destructive. I believe you know a little about it, so I hope you think carefully before acting. My Xavier Academy has nothing to do with Tang Feng. He will leave the academy tomorrow. At that time, his whereabouts and safety will be ignored. In the end, every mutant is my compatriot, whether good or bad. They must be judged by our mutants. If I hear that your army is reckless towards my compatriots, then don't blame me for it. Charles' expression was serious and his tone firm, a warning and a determination. Even for the ideal of coexistence between mutants and humans, he will not give in without limits. Okay, very good. Colonel Stryker left this sentence with an ugly face and disconnected the communication. He did not expect Charles to suddenly become tough. Charles looked at the black screen and looked at the moon outside the window with a tired face. He sighed in his heart. That's all he can do for Tang Feng. I hope that tomorrow Tang Feng and the military can leave safely without conflict. Sir, shall we not take action tomorrow? The herald looked at the Colonel. Stryker looked at him in astonishment, knowing that he had not achieved his goal. And his endless personality really made it hard for the herald to believe that he would suddenly give up action when things came to an end. In order to prevent the target dog from jumping over the wall and doing unreasonable things, it is not appropriate to carry out arrests without full confidence. Colonel Stryker had a gloomy face, irritated and angry. The thought of the earthquake during the day and the disaster caused by Tang Feng scared him too much. He could not be afraid of threats. But if Tang Feng's arrest caused a catastrophe, causing heavy casualties and losses, so he believed that no matter how good his reasons were afterwards, he would be brought out to take the blame. Moreover, because Xavier College is located in Westchester, not in a deserted place, Colonel Stryker would not be able to stop the attack, Stryker is not good at using destructive weapons, according to Tang Feng's strength information, and then analyzing the strength of his subordinates as well as the weapons currently in use. Colonel Stryker found that he really wasn't confident about catching Tang Feng. Considering this, he had no choice but to give up. When the target leaves the academy tomorrow, I'll have people keep an eye on him. No matter where he goes or what he does, I'll know exactly what he does. If you have the chance, you can do some tests. The mutants' abilities have weaknesses. Most of them are strong, but they're very fragile at first. Maybe with poison, anesthesia, I can reach the target, the colonel said. Stryker coldly was not discouraged. To him, as long as he made up his mind, no matter how difficult, cunning, or powerful the mutant was, he was confident that he could catch it. Tang Feng is one, Professor X is one, and so is Magneto. He, Colonel Stryker, was the man who was determined to exterminate the mutant. The night was getting dark, and the bright moonlight was almost at the center. Tonight, Lisa was assigned a single dormitory, leaving Tang Feng with one night to be alone with his sister. I don't know how long we talked, some about the past, some about my parents' past, and some about my childhood. Before the separation, the brothers and sisters were reluctantly chatting, during which laughter and sudden silence could be heard from time to time. Unconsciously, Lisa fell asleep in Tang Feng's arms. Tang Feng carefully put Lisa away, covered her with the quilt, and then gently opened the door, walked out, looked at Minayu, and let out a sigh of relief. Although he looked very calm, his heart was not calm. He is very powerful and has the ability to protect himself, but he still has a headache when he thinks that from tomorrow onwards, he will face the pursuit of the army. Even if he threatened, he would not naively think that the army would be so honest and obedient. Tang Feng stood outside the door and thought for a moment, then smiled wryly and shook his head. At the moment, he didn't want to care about things and walked away lightly. Based on what he inquired during the day, he soon arrived at Kin's bedroom. With a thud, he gently knocked on the door. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 The Unexpected Kin. The knock on the door sounded softly in the middle of the night. What's wrong? Kin opened the door and asked in surprise. It's so late and I don't know why Tang Feng is bothering her. She is drying her hair and preparing to rest. TSK. It's really beautiful, Tang Feng thought in his heart, swallowing with difficulty, moving his eyes with difficulty, forcing them to look only at Kin's pretty face. Cough. I have something to trouble you. I'm sorry to bother you so late. Tang Feng looked sorry and felt that it was really awkward to face such a piano. No wonder he felt awkward and was no longer as casual as during the day. Don't bother, please come in. Kin looked at Tang Feng with great interest. His face turned red and he didn't dare to look at her directly. Wouldn't she be shy? She blinked, thinking of Tang Feng's demon-fighting stance during the day, daring to threaten the military's arrogance, and seeing her timid youthful appearance now really made Kin's interest greatly increase. Without her realizing it, a ray of dark power disappeared from her eyes in an instant. Tang Feng was keenly aware that something was wrong, but when he saw Kin's figure coming in, he was attracted and ignored him. It's so late. You invited me in and made me coffee. Didn't you want to do something? Tang Feng took off his shoes and walked in, pretending to sit up straight, facing Kin who was helping him make coffee, trying not to look at the sides. It's just that the wild thoughts can't be stopped. I'm bothering you because I want to ask you one thing. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I don't want Lisa to say goodbye, so I thought, use your ability to let Lisa sleep well and not let her leave before me. Just wake up. Tang Feng felt his mouth dry and continued to drink coffee, and quickly stated his purpose. Kin looked amused. Tang Feng's way of speaking was suddenly so literary and polite. Couldn't it be because of her? Hearing Tang Feng's purpose, she fell into thought. Was it because she didn't want to part with her sister sadly? Really gentle and hypocritical guy. For some reason, the more Kin looked at Tang Feng, the more pleased she felt, and there was an impulse in her heart that would affect her behavior. and the darkness in her eyes became more obvious. "I promised you, but how will you repay me?" Qin's words implied something. She got up and sat beside Tang Feng. The sudden words made Tang Feng, who was unprepared, suddenly stunned. He thought about what would happen and looked forward to it, but it was too sudden. "Well, what do you want in return?" Tang Feng tried his best to sit up and back away. He admitted that he was a little afraid of Qin at this moment, but he still had expectations in his heart. "Do you want to be proactive? Do I need to be proactive? Flutter, don't flutter, flutter, don't flutter, flutter." Tang Feng was very entangled in his thoughts. He wanted to be a gentleman and he wanted to be a hypocrite. At this moment, Qin's thoughts were not under his control, and his actions were not under his control. With a bang, the bedroom door was pushed open and slammed shut. Tang Feng stood outside the door, his mind dizzy. "Just now," he muttered to himself, thinking about the past. "I don't know what happened to Qin," and he suddenly attacked him and stopped suddenly. This made Tang Feng very depressed. "It's not right. The usual piano is not like this." After Tang Feng returned to the bedroom, seeing Lisa's sleeping appearance, his mind cleared up and his IQ returned to normal. He thought carefully. Qin's behavior tonight really seemed to have changed the person, and when he thought about it carefully, he became a little enlightened about the strange power that appeared in the process. Is it Jin's second personality, Dark Phoenix? As Tang Feng guessed, because during the day, he saw Tang Feng's battle with his own eyes, and also felt Tang Feng's life threat. Dark Phoenix, which had been sealed in his body, began to stir. For Dark Phoenix in the seal, it admires destruction and power, and it definitely appreciates Tang Feng's power. It just so happened that the seal was a little unstable, and Dark Phoenix's power leaked out, affecting Qin's thoughts. If Tang Feng hadn't bothered Qin tonight, then nothing would have happened. It was a coincidence that Tang Feng had something bothering her. It definitely turned out to be something out of control. It's a pity that the seal of Dark Phoenix is relatively stable and does not leak much power. At first, it affected Qin, but at a critical moment, Qin regained his senses in time, and then apologized again and hurried Tang Feng out. Even so, what happened tonight left a shadow of Tang Feng in Qin's heart. The most important thing is that under the vague influence of Dark Phoenix, he did not resist. It seems that this period of time is exactly the period when Cyclops Scott pursued the piano, but has not yet succeeded. If there is no accident, in the original plot, the two are together, and then Wolverine will be inserted to become the third. Now the accident happened, and with what happened tonight, Jean never thought of being Scott's girlfriend again. Chapter 23 Attack is coming. Because of what happened to Hecken, Tang Feng couldn't sleep all night. He turned over and slept in a daze, and the preset alarm clock rang. Tang Feng woke up immediately, turned off the alarm clock, turned his head, and saw that Lisa was still sleeping, and there was no sign of waking up, and he was relieved. According to her usual habit, Lisa couldn't sleep so soundly, so it should be because Jin used the skill to let her continue to sleep. Thinking of this, Tang Feng brushed his teeth and washed his face confidently. Looking at himself in the mirror, he couldn't help but feel fascinated. The events of last night seemed to appear in front of him. Tang Feng washed his face with cold water continuously, and then cleared away the messy thoughts. Don't think too much. What happened last night was just an accident, not its nature. From today onwards, I will start to live a life of wandering and running away. It is possible to think so much. Tang Feng slapped himself hard in the face, alerting himself. Moreover, the reason why he is so affected by it is that he has reached puberty and his body's cravings have affected him, that's all. In fact, Tang Feng never thought of pursuing Qin at first, no matter how good and beautiful she was, or how superior her status as a fifth-level mutant was. But when he thought that Qin was Scott's girlfriend, he felt forced. Tang Feng didn't even think of asking, so he doesn't know how Qin and Scott are still friends in their current relationship. However, after what happened last night, seeing that Qin was still in a single dormitory, Tang Feng was enlightened. Thinking about it again, just because of the influence of Dark Phoenix, she, who already had a boyfriend, flirted with Wolverine immediately and let go of her love, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Tang Feng is a very traditional person. Obviously, as a girlfriend or even a life partner in the future. Qin doesn't agree. Well, Tang Feng, who is traditional and macho, is actually not against polygamy, not to mention that he, reborn in this world, has such a strong power. Tang Feng did not eliminate Qin's shadow in his heart, but kept it as an alternative. Who knows what will happen in the future? Gone. Tang Feng stood at the gate of the college, looked back at Xavier College for the last time, and then left on a cool motorcycle. The motorcycle was sent by Charles. He didn't ask anyone to send it, and he didn't need it. The students of the academy, under Charles's constraints, didn't know that Tang Feng was leaving. As for Qin, it seemed as if nothing had happened, just a faint farewell to her. In the roar of refueling, Tang Feng, carrying a luggage bag, quickly drove away on his motorcycle. Under the dazzling sunlight, the sleeping Lisa finally woke up. She rubbed her eyes with her little hands, went blank, and muttered, "Big brother, big brother? Older brother? Question mark. This is my current location. This is New City. This is..." While riding the motorcycle, Tang Feng glanced at the mobile phone fixed on the front of the car. It was obvious that the high-tech mobile phone was more advanced than this era, with a touch screen, voice control, and high-end design. It was also a generous gift from Charles. On the map on the phone, there was a prominent red dot, which was the meeting point of the Brotherhood. Tang Feng was silent, looking into the distance, at the endless empty road, and chuckled. "Charles, you look down on me too much. I am not ashamed to seek refuge in the Brotherhood." Muttering to himself, Tang Feng stepped on the accelerator and the motorcycle galloped faster on the road. There is no road in this world. If you walk further, you will naturally have a way. Without any purpose or direction, Tang Feng just left at will. As long as he does not return to New York, Xavier Academy will. Mutant, who may cause disasters, is still at large. If anyone knows, please report it to the police in time and do not contact him without authorization. Passing by a highway gas station, Tang Feng stopped for a while, rested, and looked up to see his news and photos on the big screen. Fortunately, he was already prepared for this situation. A gray windbreaker and pockets, and then with a black mask and contact lenses, the sapphire eyes turned black. This dress is a bit mysterious, but not lacking in fashion. As long as they are not acquaintances and caring people, they will not find that Tang Feng is a criminal wanted by Mutant. Moreover, the face of the Chinese and American mixed blood leans towards the East, with the characteristics of foreigners who have always been blind, as long as they do not use skill, without the characteristics of sapphire eyes. Even if they stand in front of them, it is estimated that they will not be able to recognize them. After resting for half an hour, Tang Feng set off again. This time, he had a purpose. During the break, he occasionally heard people talking about gambling, Lavis, which interested him and wanted to see the gambling city. Moreover, Lavis is in order, but also with chaos, and various forces are intertwined. In the dark, conflicts occur every day, and the military forces must be very weak. Taking this into account, Tang Feng planned to go to Lavis to gamble, and he happened to get a few dollars to spend. Because since he was searched, his bank cards have been frozen and he only has some cash left. As he approaches Lavis, there are more cars on the road. With a whistle, Tang Feng did not slow down and drove past a car. With strength, he is not afraid of danger. He has the qualifications of waves, and he enjoys this kind of speed and passion. While driving at high speed, Tang Feng squinted his eyes under his helmet and was keenly aware of the danger. There was a large truck coming from the opposite side, a fuel tanker beside it, and two cars behind it. Car accident, accident, Tang Feng sneered. No matter if it was done on purpose or by accident, for him, who controlled the disaster, there was no accident that could hide from him. He has seen the moment of someone dying. Without intending to slow down, Tang Feng increased the throttle, leaned over. The windbreak was blowing and swaying, but instead he accelerated. Chapter 24. Little episodes along the way. HMPH, looking for a way to die. Tang Feng turned his head and coldly looked at the scene of the car accident behind him. The raging fire was mixed with the sound of explosions. He sneered and drove away. The motorcycle whistled and soon turned into a black dot in the distance. In the face of a deliberately created car accident, Tang Feng has too many ways to deal with it. As long as he activates the disaster skill, he can control how the car accident occurs. He just slightly controlled the direction of the big truck, just let a motorcycle pass, and then let the vehicle behind him crash. The third attempt was unsuccessful. Secretly, the head of the operation belonging to the military crossed out the third plan and vetoed the car accident. On this paper filled with arrest plans, there are already 3 columns of plans that have been tried. In addition to car accidents, there are beauties and poisoning, but they are not crossed out, just to be determined. Unbeknownst to Tang Feng, a beautiful woman he encountered in the previous service area was actually a beauty trick of the military. It's just that he had just separated from his sister. Something happened to Qin last night, and he was on his way to escape arrest, so Tang Feng had no interest in what happened to the beauty. As for the poisoning, the military man disguised as a person from the service area secretly gave Tang Feng's food an anesthetic that could poison an elephant. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Tang Feng's calamity breaks down the moment the food is eaten. Whether it is harmful or not, it all becomes a nutritional supplement for physical strength. Tang Feng didn't notice it at all, he only felt that the force of disaster became more active when he was eating. From the moment of the power of awakening, the power of disaster drawn from the disaster has coexisted with Tang Feng. In a normal state, calamity always flows in his body. If you want to hurt him, no matter what the method is, you must break through the protection of the calamity. It is worth mentioning that due to the effect of the disaster, his body is gradually changing. Whether it is organs, blood, heart, or bone marrow, the disaster gradually corrodes and infects them. It was surprising that Tang Feng not only did not feel weak, but also became increasingly stronger. He had a feeling that when the force of the disaster invaded his body, including the part of his brain, he would no longer be a human, but a monster. A monster that will not die as long as the calamity is indestructible. A monster in human skin. Because of this, Tang Feng can only passively accept it. He will not resist anything no matter what happens, as long as his mind remains human. From another point of view, he will become an immortal and eternal young man from now on, which is a good thing. Along the way, Tang Feng passed through several service areas. Every time I go to a service area, there are always some coincidental accidents, and there are beauties who strike up a conversation. What kind of beauties? What kind of occupations? And, I don't know if it's an illusion, it seems that the food is becoming more and more the taste was unpleasant. The moment it was eaten, it seemed to have a different taste from the original food, and at the same time, the calamity became more active. These things finally aroused Tang Feng's vigilance. He thought about it, took another bite of the food, and took a closer look. Then he took out the drink he had prepared before leaving the Xavier Academy and drank it. Sensing the different changes in the calamity, he squinted his eyes and his face was ugly. In order to check, he pretended to accidentally spill the food on the ground, and then stared at Roy who wanted to eat it. As a result, Roy sniffed a few times, then groaned and walked away. The dog's nose is the smartest and doesn't dare to eat it, which shows that there is really a problem with the food. It turns out that without my knowledge, the military has already taken action. Fortunately, I have disaster protection. Tang Feng took a deep breath and pressed down the emotions of the rest of his life. He laughed at himself. It was really too cute. If there is no disaster power or force, the military can teach him to be a man at any time. Tang Feng laughed at himself after thinking about it, quietly picked up his luggage and rode away on a motorcycle. The service staff who had been paying attention to Tang Feng's movements all the time were relieved when they saw that he had left, and then looked at the spilled food on the ground and out. Didn't he find anything wrong with the food, or did he not want to reveal his identity, so he put up with it? This waiter was the one who delivered the food to Tang Feng. He was thinking and suddenly heard the screams of the people next to him. Before he could understand what was going on, his head was aching, his eyes were dark, and he would never wake up. It seems to be an accident. A signboard was not fixed, it fell down, and it killed a waiter. People who didn't know about it screamed and pitied each other. The military personnel who knew about it looked at each other uneasily, and felt lucky in their hearts that it was lucky that they didn't bring food to Tang Feng. What Tang Feng believes is that revenge must be avenged. From the exploration field, knowing that the waiter was dead, he smiled and took back the disaster skill. He, who can control unexpected disasters, wants an ordinary person to die, which is too simple. After leaving this service area and driving for nearly 2 hours, Lavis, who had heard of it but had never been there, finally arrived. Tang Feng's motorcycle is driving on a barren road, with desolate and desertified scenes on both sides, but the Lavis in the distance is like an oasis in the desert, attracting all the people to go there. Tang Feng is no exception. In anticipation, he accelerates again. The target person has arrived at Lavis. Please instruct the next move. We have sent 3 combat forces to try to arrest them again. The military communication was cut off and an armed helicopter flew to Lavis. Chapter 25 New Mutant Compatriots. Lavis has developed so much that it is no longer a mere gambling city. In this prosperous and lively city, gambling is only one part, and shopping, eating, and enjoying are all part of it. The entertainment star show, the exciting boxing championship, and the nightly gambling competition, each of which can attract everyone. Overnight, some people's fate will also change, to become rich, enjoy everyone's admiration, and live a life like that of paradise. Or be in debt, face everyone's contempt and ridicule, and live a hellish life. Anything can happen. It was just at night. With the fake ID given to him by Charles, Tang Feng chose an ordinary hotel, cleaned up the dusty look, and then went out shopping in a good mood. It wasn't long before he went to gamble. Helpless, I don't have much cash on my body, and I don't have enough dollars for what I fancy, so I have to gamble first to see if I can make money with money. The gambling city that never sleeps. Tang Feng looked at the ornately decorated facade, muttered, ignoring the scrutiny of the black-clothed security guard, and walked in calmly. Wow, the legendary bunny girl. Tang Feng looked at her curiously, and was surprised to find that when those people exchanged game coins, they could easily take advantage of the bunny girl. Can this be done? Tang Feng held the rare game coins, raised his chest disdainfully, and walked away from the bunny girl without squinting. Guest, do you exchange money? As long as the currency exchange exceeds 10,000 US dollars, you can touch me casually. The bunny girl's tempting words sounded from behind. Tang Feng glanced at the game coins in his hand, less than $1,000, and hurriedly left. I'm going to make money tonight. I'm a god of gamblers. Realizing this, Tang Feng squeezed through the crowd excitedly. Big, big, small, big. Stop, 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 don't turn. Please, 2 o'clock, just 2 o'clock, don't get ahead of yourself. 3 of swords, heaven and earth. I hope so. In red. In the end, Tang Feng squeezed through the crowd with a gloomy face, sighing and sighing as he looked at his hand without a single coin. He also confirmed one thing: he had no luck in gambling, the dream of becoming a god of gamblers. Goodbye. Tang Feng regretted why his disaster skill could not be used for gambling. Guest, have you run out of cash? I can borrow money here, and the interest is still very low. Mine is lower. My lowest. Although Tang Feng was moved, he still held back, speaking, betting low for happiness, but the big bets harmed his health. He pushed away a group of people promoting money lending and left. Where are you going next? I'm running out of money, so I have to find some money to spend. Tang Feng took out the few dollars he had left from his pocket, muttered to himself, and widened the field of exploration. For a moment, the whole situation of Lavis made Tang Feng see in his eyes. The sins that were hidden in the dark were also exposed to him. Well, for the dollar, a red demon has finally started the path of the superhero. Tang Feng's self-deprecating voice drifted away with the wind. He walked into the alley and disappeared into the darkness. Bang! Bang bang! A few soft gunshots rang out, and some people passing by heard them, but they didn't hear them and left in a hurry. Ah, Dad, Mom. A pleasant crying female voice was faintly heard. Tang Feng, who was wearing a windbreaker, put his pocket on and stopped. He looked at the source of the sound and pouted slightly. For the sake of such a pleasant voice, It was decided that the first order of business tonight would be you. He tilted his head to look at the building beside him, feeling the physical changes brought about by the calamity, and jumped up, as if he had become a knight flying over the eaves. "Boss, do you like a good figure, so give it to me? Although this woman's figure is not very good, but her skin is very good, her eyes are very watery, and she looks very pretty and cute. I feel like hurting her. You haven't tasted men and women, don't worry, I will love you well." After Macho Man finished speaking, he walked towards the little girl who was slumped on the ground, crying in pain, her face dull. The little girl looked at her parents who had died tragically on the ground. She was overwhelmed with grief and didn't notice the Macho Man coming. Because of the shock, her body became hot and began to change, and many more. The boss on the side stopped him. "Boss?" The macho turned back suspiciously. "Although I like a good figure, she made my heart move, so let me come first, and then it's your turn." The boss also looked at the little girl greedily, couldn't help but hesitate, pushed the Macho Man away and walked towards her. The stubborn man was unwilling, grabbed the gun tightly, and let me pick up the broken shoes again. In the end, he still didn't have the courage to resist. "Hee, where are you looking? I'm here. Next, I will make you happy to the sky." The boss lifted the girl's pretty face with one hand and laughed wildly. In the girl's pupils, the boss's appearance is reflected, and slowly, red fills the pupils. The body has undergone dramatic changes, scales are emerging little by little, the legs are fusing together, and the pupils half turned upside down. A low whistling sound was heard. The girl stood up, facing the terrified boss and the retreating man. Her figure flashed. Blood is splashing. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.